request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the OUR says theft and vandalism are affecting the utility provider's ability to invest in proper backup systems needed in case of a serious natural disaster.
The OUR is urging legislators to craft tougher laws against the thieves.
Strongest legal measures feasible against any kind of criminal encroachment on the network and services of the regulated public utilities.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness wants urgent increase in the security personnel in Haiti.
JHTA welcomes the U.S. government's commitment to reevaluate its travel advisories for Jamaica.
A jury returns open verdict in coroner's inquest into the death of Mandeville businessman.
In news from the rest of the world, Rubio warns Venezuela against attacking Guyana or ExxonMobil.
Canadian Prime Minister says the old relationship with the United States is over.
In headline sports, Kingston College strengthens lead among the boys, while Homewood Tech remains in close touch with Edwin Allen, halfway champs 2025 at the National Stadium.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, following a highly successful visit from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio to Jamaica yesterday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, will join us for an assessment.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Jamaica? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, during his contribution to the budget debate recently, the Prime Minister announced several plans for roads and works for the upcoming fiscal year.
I have given directions to the NAA and the Spatial Data Management Branch to begin work on developing a uniformed address system and zip code for Jamaica.
The Works Minister, Robert Morgan, will join us.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, March 27, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by KFC's Big Deal. Order through carry-out, drive-through, delivery, WhatsApp, or the new KFC Jamaica mobile app. KFC Big Deal. Anything for the taste.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Director General of the Office of Utilities Regulation, the OUR, Ansard Hewitt, says theft and vandalism are hindering the ability of service providers to invest in the proper backup systems needed in case of a serious natural disaster. He was addressing the OUR's Stakeholder Engagement 2025 held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew. Mr. Hewitt is calling for theft and vandalization of critical infrastructure to be treated with the utmost urgency. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
With the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl now 9 months into the past, Ansard Hewitt says the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, has had time to properly assess the response of the nation's various service providers. The OUR Director General says a recurring theme is the existence of a single point of failure. This means a point in the country's infrastructure which, if taken offline, significantly impacts everything else.
The reality with Beryl was that apart from the wide-scale damage done to the network of each utility, which rendered it impossible to provide service to customers in some affected areas, there were many instances in which service could not be provided because another utility was out of service. By far, the most common instances were those in which the loss of power quickly resulted in a loss of communication services and piped water.
Mr. Hewitt says it's important the country's utilities build in redundancies to reduce such failures.
I accept that it will be nigh impossible to provide the kind of redundancy and contingency in all cases to allow the utilities to be able to maintain services independent of one another. I am concerned as a regulator, however, about the prevalence of this single point of failure. And this is definitely a matter to which we are giving greater attention.
However, he recognized the difficulties faced by some service providers in stockpiling or investing in the proper systems due to the high incidence of theft and vandalism.
Our utilities must invest in such things as batteries, fuel storage, standby generators, pumps, solar panels, etc. To the extent that criminals and vandals prey upon these facilities, they make such investments prohibitive and endanger entire communities, sectors, and subsectors. The utilities can speak eloquently about how many areas were out of service for more days than would have been necessary if some criminal had not made off with critical emergency supplies and equipment, or where persistent criminal encroachment discouraged strategic contingency replacements.
In one instance, Mr. Hewitt noted that vandalism cost a single service provider in excess of billions of dollars over 2 years. He's urging the country's legislators to give the issue greater attention.
Island Network, another telecom provider, reports that over the years, about 30 of its sites were broken into and vandalized. These include theft of batteries, each of which cost about $500,000 to replace. So, as I have done in the past, I want to use this occasion to signal the OUR's unequivocal support for the strongest legal measures feasible against any kind of criminal encroachment on the network and services of the regulated public utilities.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, CEO of the Jamaica Public Service Company JPS, Hugh Grant, says the utility provider is addressing concerns over vegetation which severely impacted service during the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
We see whereby vegetation management is extremely important. And frankly, over the years, there have been several philosophies in regards to vegetation management. One such philosophy is having covered conductors. So if a tree grows and it makes contact with the line, there are no outages because the conductors are covered. But one of the big learnings, of course, in a hurricane is the trees are not growing, they're actually down, and they're tearing down the line. So we have taken a hard look at our vegetation management policy, and we have a significant shift in terms of how we're going to approach that.
JPS was harshly criticized for its post-hurricane response, with many customers being without service for several weeks. Mr. Grant says JPS has since significantly boosted its ability to respond in terms of post-disaster recovery.
The other thing is a paradigm shift that we have done in terms of having boots on the ground before the storm hits. Typically, how it's done is hurricane comes, you mobilize, assess damage, and if additional resources are required, we then go out and we get additional resources. We at JPS, we are currently engaging around having retainer contract in place so that on a preemptive basis, we can have boots on the ground based on the forecasted impact. And these boots on the ground, we're talking about overseas line workers, so we can mobilize once we have the all clear and once it's safe and immediately begin restoration efforts. That's a huge difference and a huge shift, and frankly, it's what best in class and first class looks like in terms of responding to a hurricane.
Hugh Grant is CEO for the Jamaica Public Service Company.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is calling for a rapid increase in security personnel to better tackle the escalating gang crisis in Haiti. He was responding to questions at a joint press briefing with the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
The United States has been an incredible partner, in fact, the lead partner, in ensuring that resources and organization is brought to the crisis in Haiti. In terms of what more could be done, I think we're at a phase in Haiti where there has to be a rapid expansion of the Haitian National Police, the HNP, in terms of the manpower and resources, because ultimately the HNP has to take on the gangs. The present holding situation that we have is not necessarily moving the situation forward as we would all like. So there would have to be a significant expansion in resources in support of the HNP to enable them to take on the gangs.
Dr. Holness's call comes amid concerns from former Prime Minister Bruce Golding that Haiti is dangerously close to becoming a failed state. In a separate webinar on Wednesday, Mr. Golding called on the relevant stakeholders to play a greater role in ensuring the future of the country. Jamaica has deployed 24 security personnel to Haiti to assist in the ongoing multinational security support mission. They were deployed in September last year to provide command, planning, and logistics support. Prime Minister Holness says discussions are underway with the United States to continue stabilization efforts in Haiti.
We look forward to continued partnership with the United States as we seek to work with the Haitian leadership and stakeholders to address the ongoing crises in Haiti. The extraordinary humanitarian, civil, and national security challenges in Haiti pose an acute threat to Haitians, to regional stability, and indeed to its close neighbors, including Jamaica. We agreed that we must do everything we can to stabilize the security situation in Haiti so that they are better able to build capacity and address their political and humanitarian challenges.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
The Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, is applauding the U.S. government's commitment to reevaluate its travel advisories against Jamaica. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the pledge during his brief visit to the island on Wednesday. President of the JHTA, Robin Russell, says significant strides have been made to address the issues outlined in the advisories.
I am very happy with the tone of the conversation where, the U.S. has regarded us as a very important partner, which we know we are, and we regard them equally as important or even more important. We have been doing a lot of work in tourism in collaboration with the government in addressing the issues that were brought up in even the January travel advice. And you saw the tone softening a little bit in the July advisory. And we are very encouraged that the new Secretary of State has seen the progress that we've made.
The July 2024 U.S. travel advisory urged its citizens to reconsider traveling to Jamaica due to a high level of crime and substandard medical services. At that time, Mr. Russell said the news created some level of panic, with many potential guests making enquiries on the matter. Approximately 80% of the country's tourism arrivals are from the U.S. Mr. Russell is optimistic that the revised travel advisory will further boost that figure.
We're hoping that it will be reflected in the upcoming travel advisory. Anything negative, affects tourism, whether just seeing it or by regulations, as in insurance or group travel. So when we have a positive outcome, then it gives us the opportunity to reach into more markets. So it would definitely be an added bonus not having to deal with a negative travel advisory.
Robin Russell, president of the JHTA.
State Minister of Tourism Delano Seavright is refuting claims by opposition spokesperson on tourism, Senator Janice Allen, that the ministry misled the public regarding UAE airline Emirates operations in Jamaica. Senator Allen accused the tourism minister Edmund Bartlett of falsely stating that Emirates would soon commence direct flights to Jamaica. But the junior minister says it's unfortunate that she's misinformed.
No, I want to be abundantly clear. Miss Allen is misleading herself. The fact is, on March 26, 2025, the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority published details of a legitimate application from Emirates Airline for scheduled services between Dubai and Montego Bay via Frankfurt. Hence, it's a direct service. The flights begin in April and will continue for months on from that. Emirates is the applicant, and the Montego Bay leg will be operated by Condor under a code-share agreement, which is very much a standard practice for many years in the international aviation space. And that was clearly stated by Minister Bartlett and every official statement, written or verbal, from us.
Senator Allen also contended that Emirates is not initiating flights to Jamaica. According to her, the recent announcement pertained to the expansion of services to the island by German airline Condor. But Mr. Seavright says the airlift application by Emirates forms part of the ministry's broader strategy to expand global connectivity.
So let me be absolutely clear. We never ever said Emirates was flying non-stop to Jamaica. What we said and what is on record is that Emirates is part of our airlift strategy to grow our global connectivity, and we've been very busy at doing that. And that's exactly what's happening. So we have been talking to Emirates for quite some time now, and it is our hope that in the coming years, Emirates will eventually move to non-stop services between Montego Bay, Jamaica, and Dubai in the United Arab Emirates.
Delano Seavright, State Minister of Tourism. He says while the opposition seems determined to play politics with progress, the ministry will remain focused on results. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Bank of Jamaica has a mandate to target low stable inflation or the general rate of price increases at between 4 and 6%. This has been achieved with the help of a fairly stable foreign exchange system. Using the BOJ Foreign Exchange Intervention and Trading Tool, BOJ buys and sells into the foreign exchange market to keep the market fully funded and stable, as well as to help keep inflation low and predictable. For more information, visit boj.org.jm. A message from Bank of Jamaica.
Continuing the news. A 7-member jury in the coroner's court has returned an open verdict in the inquest into the death of Mandeville businessman 33-year-old Jason Neal. The open verdict indicates that the jury found the evidence inconclusive in determining whether Neal's fatal gunshot wound was the result of murder or suicide. The inquest, which started almost 2 years ago, culminated in the Manchester Parish Court on Thursday. Robian Williams reports.
After 30 minutes of deliberation, the 7-member jury delivered its decision, an open verdict. Coroner Monique Harrison presided over the inquest. Justice Harrison told the court that the verdict effectively closes the case due to insufficient evidence, but noted that the matter could be reopened if new evidence emerges. Neal, the proprietor of Neal Auto on Ward Avenue in Mandeville, was found shot in the bathroom of his home in the upscale Ingleside community on December 4, 2018. According to police reports, his then pregnant wife heard an explosion around 7 a.m. and upon investigating, allegedly saw Neal on the floor with his licensed firearm beside him. He was later pronounced dead at hospital. Initial reports concluded he died by suicide. During the inquest, forensic analysis found no gunshot residue on Neal's or his wife's hands. Reacting to the open verdict, Neal's father, Bonnie, says he is pleased with the outcome. He believes the verdict has cleared his son's name.
It was rough, but we accept it. We accept the open decision by the court. We accept it. My son's name was vindicated, and I'm glad we went this route to clear his name. So we can no longer say it was suicide. I must say thanks to my lawyers. I mean, they were awesome, great. They did a wonderful job.
Meanwhile, attorney Christopher Honeywell, who represented Jason Neal's widow and her family, also welcomed the verdict.
In matters of this nature, you're always expecting the unexpected in a court. The fact of the matter is that the evidence, the physical evidence that was raised by the policemen in particular, would have indicated that the verdict we submit should have been definitively suicide. However, the jury, in their estimation, felt that they did not see enough evidence that would convince them that it was either suicide or homicide. One of the things I believe that might have borne heavily on their minds is the fact that neither the deceased nor his wife returned any positive traces of firearm residue on their hands. And the matter, we believe, would have to rest right there. We accept the verdict for what it is.
Mr. Honeywell acknowledges the emotional toll the matter had taken on the widow and her family.
Well, the matter has been painful to the family. They've been in many ways castigated in the public domain. They have, however, turned up in court and they've given their account of what they did on the day. And it is clear from what his wife and his extended family did that they extended all possible efforts that they could have to try to save Jason's life. So much so that they made sure that the police got there, even ahead of any expectation of time, and that when he was being sent off to the hospital, he was still alive and with a desperate hope that he might have lived. It didn't happen and he passed. Sadly enough, we wish that this can give them some closure, however, that the matter has been vindicated in court, and we're certain, therefore, that no fingers are being pointed at them in terms of what they did or might not have done, despite what some of the comments in the public domain.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says it would be a very bad day for the Venezuelan regime if it attacked Guyana or ExxonMobil's assets in the Atlantic. He was answering a question from the media at a joint press conference in Guyana with President Irfan Ali. The Trump regime has taken a hard stance against Venezuelan oil and gas extraction as well as its production and sales. The U.S. government has threatened heavy sanctions against countries that do energy business with Nicolas Maduro's administration. According to Rubio, any attacks by Venezuela will not end well for the Maduro regime. Rubio, in his introduction, declared support for Guyana from what he said was the illegitimate narco-trafficking government in Venezuela. The Secretary of State declared the U.S.'s interest in working with Guyana and hailed its opportunity to work towards cheap and reliable energy.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada's old relationship with the United States is over. He made the comment on Thursday while speaking to reporters in Ottawa after a cabinet meeting. Carney says the decision is based on deepening integration of the two countries' economies and tight security and military cooperation. The Prime Minister says Canadians must reimagine their economy in the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. Carney says Canada would respond with retaliatory tariffs that will have maximum impact on the United States. Trump announced on Wednesday he would target imported vehicles and vehicle parts with a 25% tax. The new car tariffs will come into effect on April 2. Carney has switched his campaign plans ahead of next month's general election to confront the latest import duties. He says President Trump has reached out to him to schedule a call which would take place in the next day or two.
Australians will head to the polls on May 3 after Prime Minister Anthony Albanese fired the starter's gun on the federal election campaign. He visited the Governor-General on Friday morning to dissolve the 47th Parliament, triggering a 5-week race to form the next government. Prime Minister Albanese says the election was a choice between Labour's plan to keep building or opposition leaders Peter Dutton's promise to cut. He's aiming to become the first Prime Minister since John Howard in 1998 to win a second term.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the OUR says theft and vandalism are affecting utility providers' ability to invest in proper backup systems in case of a serious natural disaster.
The OUR is urging legislators to craft tougher laws against thieves.
Prime Minister Holness wants urgent increase in the number of security personnel in Haiti.
JHTA welcomes the U.S. government's commitment to reevaluate its travel advisories for Jamaica.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robeanne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by KFC's Big Deal. Order through carry-out, drive-through, delivery, WhatsApp, or the new KFC Jamaica mobile app. KFC Big Deal. Anything for the taste.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
How are this
For
on
more
my TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently. But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor fi go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deepfake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait. I really want dege dumpling you give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The champions in both sections are continuing to set the standards in the point standings on day 3 of the 115th Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships at the National Stadium. Boys champions Kingston College, who came into the third day on 47 points, they're now on 55.5 points. The famed Purples bagged 8.5 points in Class 3 high jump final after Jabari Nugent claimed second and Joshua Parchment finished the 7th. The top 3 in the final all cleared 1.78 meters as their best jump, as Shamar Shaw of Calabar claimed gold and Leandre Thomas of Herbert Morrison in Montego Bay bagged the bronze. Calabar picked up additional points when Orain Perkins finished 4th in the final, which has enabled them to move into 2nd in the standings ahead of Jamaica College, who are yet to add to their points tally of 29 from the second day. On the girls' side, defending champions Edwin Allen, they continue to lead, but they've only added 3 points to the 56 they scored at the end of day 2. Homewood remains second with 49 points they scored on day 2, while St. Jago picked up 7 points so far on day 3 to remain third on 39 points. The first gold on day 3 went to Sequoia Palmer of St. Mary High School, who scaled 1.65 meters to win the girls' Class 3 high jump title. Palmer of St. Mary, meanwhile, Port Antonio High's Kevina Bourne, 24.41 seconds, has the fastest time going into the semifinals of the Class 3 girls 200 meters, which ran off this morning. On the boys' side, Rassis Tiena Bart is the quickest into the semifinals with a time of 22.58. 11 finals are on the schedule for day 3. Among the big finals tonight, the 400 meters, all classes, both gender, and the first one will go off at 8:10. The English Premier League has announced it will have 2 transfer windows this summer to allow Manchester City and Chelsea to sign players before the Club World Cup. The window will open between June 1 and June 10, then close for 5 days before running again from June 16 to September 1. This summer features first expanded FIFA Club World Cup, which involves 32 teams and adopts the format of the regular World Cup of the past few years. Chelsea and Manchester City are Premier League teams in the tournament, which takes place in the United States starting on June 15. But the Premier League can only have 12 weeks of a summer window, hence the 5-day break in order to run it until September 1. FIFA has allowed new players to be registered for the Club World Cup. Former Jamaican West Indies all-rounder David Bernard Jr. has been tasked to coach the Cayman Islands senior men's cricket team for the inaugural 5-team North America T20 Cup cricket competition. The tournament, which include hosts the Cayman Islands, Canada, Bermuda, the US and Bahamas, will run from April 18 to 27. Speaking on Radio Cayman's Sports Extra, Bernard says the tournament will provide crucial preparation for his team ahead of the 2016 ICC Men's T20 World Cup Americas qualifier later this year.
This is just a feeder into the bigger thing to come, which is the regional finals for the T20 World Cup qualification. But this is a great build up to that. I think this level of competition has not been had before, and the good side of it is that it gives us the exposure to that level of competition. So to put it into perspective, 4 of the 5 teams that are playing in this competition will be fighting for that one spot in Canada. So it gives us a dress rehearsal of what the competition will be like. And to even top it off, we have USA who have already qualified for the World Cup. So we couldn't ask for better preparation leading into the tournament, where we get a chance to expose our local talent, and they should be a lot more comfortable playing on home soil.
Bermuda will arrive early to get a chance to acclimatize. Bernard says they'll use the opportunity to play the visitors in 2 warm-up games.
It gives us the opportunity to expose all the resources we have in terms of players. It's basically our world where we get to tailor the teams to suit what our vision is. So there are 2 games, so you might find that both teams may be contrasting in terms of the structure of both teams. So it gives us the opportunity, as I say, it's great exposure for our players to play teams of this level. I mean, we just came out of the World Cup regional qualifiers in Argentina, and not to take away from our achievements there, but this is a much tougher tournament because, one, it's the top teams in the North Americas region and the Americas when you put South America into it.
Former Jamaica cricketer, now head coach of the Cayman Islands cricket team, David Bernard Jr. And that will do it for sports at the moment. We're going to be back, though, at 6:05 with much more.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:31.
We a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can see what we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Go get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot. It's a big deal.
Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Residents of Manchester, the Jamaica Customs Agency will be in your parish on Friday, March 28, 2025 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Customs Meets the Community. The Town and Community Tour edition will kickstart this exciting tour in Christiana at 10 a.m. Then navigate into the parish capital, Mandeville, for the grand finale at 2:30 p.m. Get information on all things customs, contactless clearance, the Customs mobile app, incentives for farmers and manufacturers, and so much more. That's Customs Meets the Community, the Town and Community Tour edition in Manchester this Friday, March 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Jamaica Customs, reaching our customers where they are.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Transjam highways. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers, so switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until March 31st.
Revamp your space with Unique Living sleek fixed and sliding shower panels, shower systems and faucets, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, basins and kitchen sinks, closet and storage solutions, hanging aids, and more. Available in different finishes and sizes to match your style. Transform your space and visit us today at shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call us at 876-755-3661 or visit our website at uniquelivingja.com to shop.
Digicel, live life your way, not free what? Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for 2 to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes. Event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now with Digicel. Better connected.
Promotion ends March 31. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
The general rate of price increases in Jamaica has slowed significantly. Barring any new economic shocks such as large global price increases or bad weather, inflation is expected to generally remain within Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6% for the next 2 years. Low stable price movement is good for all Jamaicans. A message from Bank of Jamaica.
We a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3-piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Go get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left feet. It's a big deal. Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Nationwide 90 FM wants to help you find your home sweet home with all things real estate. A 15-minute program during Nationwide this morning, every Wednesday at 8:35 a.m. All Things Real Estate gives you expert advice on how to navigate the process of owning any real estate, from residential and commercial to industrial or even vacant real estate. We'll guide you through every square foot of information. Now, let's turn that for sale into sold with All Things Real Estate every Wednesday at 8:35 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy. Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network. Multilink, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the Cover Story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. How are you, Ricardo?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I'm living. Some would say living the dream.
Oh, wow. Teach me how to do that now?
Oh, boy. Well, our focus today, Ricardo, is on that visit from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And he says the Trump administration is committed to reviewing travel advisories that caution Americans about coming to Jamaica. He gave the commitment while speaking at the office of the Prime Minister on Wednesday.
We did talk about tourism because obviously it's a significant part of your economy, and we pledged we were going to go back and reevaluate the travel advisories as they currently stand to ensure that they do reflect the reality of the new numbers.
Marco Rubio there, the U.S. Secretary of State. Meanwhile, Secretary Rubio announced that as part of the U.S.'s push to revamp how the country provides foreign aid, it will be partnering with Jamaica in skills training. Dana Davey reports.
On his first day in office in January, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a pause on foreign aid for an initial 90 days. This, he said, was part of a review into government spending. The majority of the programs under the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, have since been terminated. The remaining programs are to be administered by the State Department. Earlier in March, Secretary Rubio wrote on X that USAID expended tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve U.S. interests. Secretary Rubio says it's the intention of the Trump administration to provide aid that aligns with the U.S.'s foreign policy priorities.
We seek to go back and find ways that we can partner to create opportunities for skills training so that if those companies, and we can attract those companies, if we can attract whether it's a logistics center or manufacturing to come to Jamaica, there is a workforce that's been equipped with the skills needed. Now, we face this challenge domestically as well. We need to do that ourselves, but there may be things that we can do in collaboration with one another. And this touches on the issue of aid, very controversial in the United States, but it's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here today, because it in many ways highlights exactly what our vision for aid moving forward is. The United States is not getting out of the aid business. We are going to be providing foreign aid. The difference is we want to provide foreign aid in a way that is strategically aligned with our foreign policy priorities and the priorities of our host countries and our nation states that we're partners with.
He took issue with the previous approach by the USAID on foreign aid.
How it has worked in the past is USAID or some other entity would come into a country and say, this is what we think you need. And then they go out and hire an NGO that maybe are the ones that convinced them that that's what you need. And they give them a bunch of money and they come into the country and they do things. Some of these programs are fine. They're nice things. Other times, not so much. Nonetheless, that's how it used to be. How we want it to be in the future is that our embassies are involved with the host government, our hosts, our partners. And we ask them, what are your needs? And we provide assistance geared towards the needs of the nation states that are hosting us and that we're partnering with. At the end, our partner in Jamaica, our partner all over the world, is the government. It's the host governments who have a clear vision for the future. And to the extent that our foreign aid can be helpful, it is in furtherance of what the people of your country have elected you to carry out.
According to the U.S. Secretary of State, its revamped aid to Jamaica will also focus on trade and intelligence capacity building for the security forces.
Here, there are a lot of things. We've just described some of them. What should our foreign aid be geared towards? It should be geared towards looking for opportunities to increase skills training, looking for opportunities to attract investment and business, trade, and looking obviously for opportunities to expand on your own domestic intelligence capabilities. We are going to have foreign aid that is aligned to our foreign policy, and our foreign policy is going to be aligned to our mutual shared interests with the partners that we have all over the world. And I can tell you, Jamaica is an incredible partner to the United States.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Dana. Joining us now to discuss the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Hearing you clearly.
Afternoon to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let me first of all get your assessment of how you believe the visit went yesterday.
I thought the visit was a resounding success. It placed Jamaica in a most positive light internationally, as well as with our friend and partner, the United States of America. We have had strong diplomatic relations across administrations for 62 years. We were one of the first countries to recognize our independence, and our engagement, I think, has gone from strength to strength and is developing into more of a partnership in some aspects as well. And I think this trip was able to profoundly underline that and to set an excellent platform very early in this new administration for how it is that we can most effectively work together for the benefit of the hemisphere and indeed for both our countries.
Mm-hmm. And what does Secretary Rubio's visit to Jamaica so early in his tenure signify about the current state of U.S.-Jamaica relations?
It signifies that they are strong. It signifies that they're strong. I think he was quite clear on that, and it was actually a very positive aspect that he had taken care to repeat, not only in the meeting, but externally as well, that his visit here so early in his tenure is a signal of the importance of the region. He's dealing with a lot of other issues much further away, but recognizing, as he had actually said in his confirmation hearing, that he actually was very planned to be very focused on ensuring that the hemisphere got more attention, and coming to the English-speaking Caribbean so early in his tenure, I think, sent that signal that it was Jamaica first, and that other countries were invited here to meet as well. Also sent a very strong signal of the intention to engage with us in a profound way.
Mm-hmm. Minister, some of the cynics might say Jamaica got a lot. The reevaluation of the travel advisories, wanting to build better trade relations, security assistance, significant, what my word now, concession on the Cuban medical program. And some might say, what did Jamaica give up in order to secure those concessions? How would you respond to that?
I would respond that we give up nothing. What they have seen is the result of strong diplomacy, strong diplomatic engagement, clear and trustworthy engagement on issues, both difficult and easy. We don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything. We have difficult conversations, but we have always been respectful of each other's perspectives and each other's views. And the manner in which we engage is always positive, and that is respected and well regarded. We're a voice of reason in multilateral and hemispheric fora. And we share a view that a strong democratic principle, which is respected across the region, is good for our region, the hemisphere, and that is something that they appreciate. There's a value to that, and I think because our diplomacy is not necessarily practiced in the media. And I was saying to another in another engagement that, quite frankly, I prefer to be criticized for being silent on an issue and getting a good result from my country than to share information prematurely or try to, sort of beat my chest across the radio waves on an issue, rather than to pursue quiet diplomacy, reasoned conversations, and consistent engagement at different levels as are necessary to get results, like an announcement that there is a pledge to review or travel advisory. We've been working on this for, I can't say how long. It's good to have heard it publicly stated that there will be a commitment to go and review, and we're hopeful and cautiously optimistic about the results of that when it happens.
All right, we're up on the break, Minister. When you come back from the break, I want to linger a little bit more on that process of diplomacy, because you came under significant pressure, especially from those online who I call social media diplomats. And I want you to use the opportunity when you come back from the break to just explain a little bit more to the Jamaican people about this business of diplomacy and how you actually go about performing your role as the country's chief diplomat. After the break.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:46.
Crispy, crunchy, tantalizing fried chicken only at Bird Shack. Satisfy your hunger today. The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is
27 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Valley, we a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Go get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot. Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The sweetest deals are here in Active Home Center's Home Sweet Home Sale. From Monday, March 24th to Saturday, March 29th, grab amazing savings on brand new arrivals and back in stock favorites. Plus, enjoy store-wide discounts on tiles, bathrooms, furniture, lighting, and so much more. Hurry in! These deals won't last. Visit our showrooms in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
More savings, more choices.
Conditions apply.
Residents of Manchester, the Jamaica Customs Agency will be in your parish on Friday, March 28, 2025 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Customs Meets the Community. The Town and Community Tour edition will kickstart this exciting tour in Christiana at 10 a.m. Then navigate into the parish capital, Mandeville, for the grand finale at 2:30 p.m. Get information on all things customs, contactless clearance, the Customs mobile app, incentives for farmers and manufacturers, and so much more. That's Customs Meets the Community, the Town and Community Tour edition in Manchester this Friday, March 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Jamaica Customs, reaching our customers where they are.
Area Council 1 meets in St. Andrew Easton this Sunday, Mountain View Primary School, 5 p.m. Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie leads the charge with MP Fable Williams. Labour rights roll out to hear MPs Juliet Holness, Delroy Chuck, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Donovan Williams, Robert Miller, Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, and other champions. JLP active, stronger party with the stronger team. St. Andrew Eastern stands on a record of performance with MP Fable Williams, and we choose Jamaica this Sunday, Mountain View Primary School, 5 p.m. See you there!
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM from 6 to 9 p.m. for a broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting at Mountain View Primary School, Sunday, March 30. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the West Kingston constituency and the Jamaica Labour Party. Due to the broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting on Sunday, March 30, Jamaican Dads, Immaculate Moments, and Baha'i Faith will not be aired.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We have with us the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. Minister, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
Are you hearing me still?
Yes. So, leading up to this visit, you came under significant pressure, criticisms. Your colleagues in CARICOM took very public positions on giving up visas, and there were some online calling for the Holness administration to quote-unquote declare its hand and declare its stance. They wanted you to take a more strident approach to the Trump administration. You were studiously silent, and some said it was out of weakness and fear. I want you to, because before the break, you sort of started to explain how you prefer to go about the job. And I want you to use the opportunity to explain to people how it works. Because some might say, you know, maybe we should, they say, in order to be on the right side of history, we should be strong in these things. Talk to us a little bit about how you approach the job.
Well, I think maybe you would need to define how you see the right side of history. I see the right side of history every time as the interests of Jamaica and the Jamaican people. My feelings don't come into that, you know. My ego doesn't come into that. And my sort of sense of whether I'm going to be criticized by the media or have a poorly phrased editorial against me doesn't come into that. What comes into that every time, what wakes me up every morning and what puts me to bed at night, is how to get the best results for Jamaica. And that requires a steady mind. It requires calm. It requires the best information possible, not speaking prematurely, and it requires ensuring that you're engaging at every level that you understand can possibly move a result forward. So speaking to my counterpart in Cuba, it's not a public conversation that's covered by the press, but it's a conversation that takes us down a road. Speaking with the embassy here, that is not a public conversation, but it takes us down the road. Engaging in D.C. when I'm there for the OAS election the other day, it's not a public conversation, but it happens to take you down the road. You have discussions at the technical level, at the political level, and you make sure that you're putting forward reasoned arguments, sharing information as relevant, and having reasonable discussions. We don't like to be shouted at as a country, so I don't know why we think any other country would like to be shouted at. So shouting is not diplomacy. Shouting is, you know, making yourself feel emotionally more complete. Diplomacy is a long process. It is never about one step. It is never about one conversation, and it is never about only the immediacy. So it really does require a very focused approach and a recognition that it's not a simple one. Clearly, it's difficult to explain in you know, in its detail, but it's having the different conversations in the directions that are likely to produce the best possible result and staying focused on that.
And if I can extend on that point, Minister, is there a lack of understanding then of how diplomacy works? And would you say it's difficult managing the right of the public to know and that need to have information, but also still ensuring that some conversations are kept private?
Oh, absolutely. There's no negotiation in this world that can be done publicly and effectively. The more public you are in any negotiation makes it the more difficult to, because parties take stances and they take hard stances and you get vested in a public view rather than the actual discussion at the table. I think I've made an effort, a distinct effort, and we've actually at the ministry have shared more information than that ministry has ever been used to sharing before. We have tried as best as possible to balance the public's need to know and the public's interest with recognizing that the very nature of what we do and the ability to succeed at what we do does require confidentiality. I cannot share what is in our technical cooperation agreement, and if you understood that, then you would understand the discussions we were having. But there's no way that the two could work together and a result be achieved. It's very difficult in this environment where, people have a greater thirst than ever before. Social media has created the ability of opinions, both informed and uninformed, to be shared widely. And they're not always constructive in their approach or they're not usually research-based. So trying to combat that, instead of actually focusing on the work at hand would be I think, the most, it would be destructive. Mm-hmm. It would just not be the best approach at all. So we've tried as best as possible to balance. And unfortunately, the balance usually ends up with criticisms of me. but I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to take it and get the results, because results are certainly what we have demonstrated in our ability to make a call when we need vaccines for COVID and people are not getting, and we have 2 weeks running out on supply and people are due there next, and you're able to make a call and a colleague is able to send a plane, as happened from Mexico, where it is important to build strong relations, and relationships are at the very heart of diplomacy as well. So I think sometimes, and building a relationship, of course, again, doesn't always mean that you share views on everything. But when you build a relationship, it provides the opportunity for you to be able to, A, have access to have the discussion, and B, to then have the discussion. Two different levels of action, and they both require work to achieve. So, I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, but Minister, obviously, in balancing it, the truth is these are very uncertain times on the international scene. And I wondered if, even though you're approaching it as you are you worried at all that the sort of uncertainty that we sometimes see coming out of Washington these days, are you worried about how that may affect Jamaica and Jamaica's interests over the long term?
I worry about how everything affects Jamaica and our interest in the long term. If you recall, when this administration took office in 2016, it was just a matter of months before we had Brexit, and it was another matter of months before there was another change of U.S. administration with very different policies than those which existed before, and a great deal of uncertainty. We've had geopolitical tensions. We've had COVID, which took up 2 years, and again changed the perspective of how the world saw each other and saw itself. So we've, over the past 9 years, it has really not been a very easy road. And in fact, a former foreign minister, not to be named, said to me, "Boy, girl, I wouldn't want to be foreign minister now." To be honest, it's really not an easy road out there. Yes. But again, it's about being focused on the results, recognizing if we're going to, trade policies are changing, what does that mean? It means we have to plan. It means we also have to engage to demonstrate where it is that there are issues in which we can cooperate and can be helped. You'd have heard yesterday the discussions around possibilities in nearshoring, Jamaica expanding our utility of our geostrategic location for logistics, and other opportunities that can take place here since we dredged and expanded our port. That work was taking place 2016, 2017, 2018. We agree on transnational organized crime as being a real priority for the region, for the hemisphere. It affects us all, and it affects, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad. We're here. Haiti is at the extreme. This is something that we share a view on. So when you're talking about reconsidering how it is that your aid is allocated, all right, well, we think security is actually a foundation of everything as well. So let's look at how we can perhaps ensure that this section of our funding is not cut or perhaps is enhanced. You heard about anti-gang recruitment program. Perhaps that's very similar to our violence prevention, youth engagement programs, but different language. But where do we meet in the middle in terms of what we want to achieve? So it really is about seeking to find the best opportunities to engage.
And common ground.
On common ground,
All
mutual
right.
interest and alignment.
All right, so here's one that you may find it more difficult. China on the right, the U.S. on the left. Obviously, the Secretary of State coming here, trying to deepen the relationship with the Caribbean region. We also have close ties with China. Historically, certainly in most recent history, this current U.S. administration and China, they have had an antagonistic relationship. How does Jamaica maneuver that situation to ensure that our interests are still protected while the elephants fight?
But this is not new. This occurred under the first Trump administration as well, and we have come out quite fine. We have good, strong partnerships that exist within a framework. We've been able to, it's recognized that Jamaica is not overly indebted. You would have heard the Secretary speaking about his concern about indebtedness and countries falling into a debt trap. We have no debt trap. We have a strong partnership with China, especially nowadays in respect of our infrastructure development, where the contracts that go to Chinese companies are the subject of public procurement processes. They are transparent. Other investors could come in. So in the same way that we're open for investment from China, we are open to investment from U.S., the UK, Canada. We are open. It's another function of the fact that we are quite clear that we are a free market economy and we have a strong governance system, and come who may. What they're actually recognized, and they've recognized this, so we're able to have a moderate conversation about it, and also to recognize that, the fact is that where our reforms have allowed us to be a stronger and better partner in the region, that has its own value as well. I think I may have said that earlier, but it's worth repeating because it's the intangibles sometimes that help to allow for reason in other areas. And it doesn't mean that we won't have challenges down the line. It doesn't mean that at all. But we are clear on our position. We know that we are well-reasoned in the approach that we take. We're transparent and structured, and in some ways that's seen as a model. I believe the Secretary may have said that yesterday too.
Yeah. All right, the producer is giving me the wrap-up signal. She won't give me enough time. Foreign affairs is a big issue, but she's not giving me enough time, Minister. But we do appreciate your time this afternoon.
No,
and
I appreciate your interest in some of the finer points of it because I don't often have the opportunity to explain in this way. I hope your listeners found it interesting as well. I know I always do, but the nuances aren't always well appreciated. So I thank you for allowing me the time to share.
Not a problem.
Right.
Senator
All the best,
Kamina
Minister.
Johnson Smith is the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs, the chief diplomat. And I hope those of you who are on social media beating up on the phone screen, yes, about what Jamaica should or should not do, that you learn something this afternoon. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide Headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has decided to hold its policy interest rate at 6% per annum while reducing the Standing Liquidity Facility SLF rate from 8% to 7%. The decision was announced on Thursday following the Monetary Policy Committee's meetings the previous day. The BOJ says the decision aims to support inflation stability while enhancing monetary transmission mechanisms. According to the BOJ, the MPC deliberated on the economic uncertainties surrounding the policies of Jamaica's main trading partners. Despite these external factors, the committee concluded that the current monetary policy stance remains appropriate to sustain inflation within the target range over the next 2 years. The central bank says the reduction in the SLF margin will lower the cost of short-term liquidity for commercial banks, which is expected to promote stability in short-term market interest rates. Director General of the OUR, Ansad Hewitt, says theft and vandalism are hindering the ability of service providers to invest in proper backup systems needed in case of a serious natural disaster.
Our utilities must invest in such things as batteries, fuel storage, standby generators, pumps, solar panels, etc. To the extent that criminals and vandals prey upon these facilities, they make such investments prohibitive and endanger entire communities, sectors, and subsectors. The utilities can speak eloquently about how many areas were out of service for more days than would have been necessary if some criminal had not made off with critical emergency supplies and equipment, or where persistent criminal encroachment discouraged strategic contingency replacements.
Mr. Hewitt noted that vandalism cost the single service provider in excess of billions of dollars over 2 years. He's urging the country's legislators to give this issue greater attention.
Island Network, another telecom provider, reports that over the years, about 30 of its sites were broken into and vandalized. These include theft of batteries, each of which cost about $500,000 to replace. So, as I have done in the past, I want to use this occasion to signal the OUR's unequivocal support for the strongest legal measures feasible against any kind of criminal encroachment on the network and services of the regulated public utilities.
Ansad Hewitt, Director General of the OUR. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is calling for a rapid increase in security personnel to better tackle the escalating gang crisis in Haiti. He was responding to questions at a joint press briefing with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
The United States has been an incredible partner, in fact, the lead partner, in ensuring that resources and organization is brought to the crisis in Haiti. In terms of what more could be done, I think we're at a phase in Haiti where there has to be a rapid expansion of the Haitian National Police, the HNP, in terms of the manpower and resources, because ultimately the HNP has to take on the gangs. The present holding situation that we have is not necessarily moving the situation forward as we would all like. So there would have to be a significant expansion in resources in support of the HNP to enable them to take on the gangs.
Dr. Holness's call comes amid concerns from former Prime Minister Bruce Golding that Haiti is dangerously close to becoming a failed state. In a separate webinar on Wednesday, Mr. Golding called on the relevant stakeholders to play a greater role in ensuring the future of the country. Prime Minister Holness says discussions are underway with the U.S. to continue stabilization efforts in Haiti.
We look forward to continued partnership with the United States as we seek to work with the Haitian leadership and stakeholders to address the ongoing crises in Haiti. The extraordinary humanitarian, civil, and national security challenges in Haiti pose an acute threat to Haitians, to regional stability, and indeed to its close neighbors, including Jamaica. We agreed that we must do everything we can to stabilize the security situation in Haiti so that they are better able to build capacity and address their political and humanitarian challenges.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, is applauding the U.S. government's commitment to re-evaluate its travel advisors against Jamaica. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the pledge during his brief visit to the island on Wednesday. President of the JHTA, Robin Russell, says significant strides have been made to address the issues outlined in the advisories.
I am very happy with the tone of the conversation where, the U.S. has regarded us as a very important partner, which we know we are, and we regard them equally as important or even more important. We have been doing a lot of work in tourism in collaboration with the government in addressing the issues that were brought up in even the January travel advice. And you saw the tone softening a little bit in the July advisory. And we are very encouraged that the new Secretary of State has seen the progress that we've made.
Robin Russell, President of the JHTA. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Michael. Sports is next.
March into savings with ATL's March Madness Sale. Get up to 50% off select appliances, electronics, and hard-to-find parts all month long. Upgrade your home and business with everything you need at unbeatable prices and best quality brands. Shop in store at Kingston, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay. Or beat the traffic and buy online at atljamaica.com and get island-wide delivery. ATL, the best brands and the best service. Sale ends March 31 while stocks last. Conditions apply.
We a big deal when we touch the ground. Yeah, I can see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Go get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, now left foot. It's a big deal. Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC, big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Coveside Concert Series presents Timeless. It happens on March 29 at Plantation Cove, St. Anne. Featuring international superstar Dionne Warwick and more stars Myrna Hague, Queen Marcia Griffiths, and Dwayne Stevens. Timeless, March 29. Showtime is 8 p.m. and tickets are now available at Fesco, Fontana Pharmacy, Plantation Smokehouse, and online at coveside.aitix.com.
Good evening with your sports reporter. I'm Alex Raby. We start with track and field as the champions in both sections are continuing to set the standards in the point standing on day 3 of the 115th Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships at the National Stadium. Boys champion Kingston College, who came into the third day on 47 points, are now on 55.5 points. The famed Purples bagged 8.5 points in the Class 3 boys high jump final after Jabari Nugent claimed second and Joshua Parchment finished 7th. The top 3 in the final all cleared 1.78 meters as their best jump, as Shamar Shah of Calabar claimed the gold and Leandre Thomas of Herbert Morrison bagged the bronze. Calabar picked up additional points when Owen Perkins finished 4th in the final, which has enabled them to move into second in the standings ahead of Jamaica College, who are yet to add to their points tally on 29 from day 2. On the girls' side, defending champions Edwin Allen continues to lead, but they've only added 3 points to the 56 they scored at the end of day 2. Homewood remained second with 49 points they scored on day 2, while St. Jacob picked up 7 points so far on day 3 to remain third on 39 points. The first goal on day 3 went to Sequoia Palmer of St. Mary High, who scaled 1.65 meters to win the girls' Class 3 high jump title. Now to football, as defending champions Cavalier were beaten 3-1 by Humble Lion in a rescheduled Ray and Never Jamaica Premier League game at Effortville Community Centre on Thursday. Veteran Ricardo Campbell gave Humberline the lead after 18 minutes. Jamari Morrison made it 2-0 in the 41st minute before Ricardo Ramsey sealed the game in the first half added time. Jalmara Campbell scored the consolation for Cavalier, who missed the chance to leapfrog Portmore United into fourth. Humberline are now out of the bottom two, but just on goal difference over Moulins United. National Senior Men's Football Team coach Steve McLaren says he was very impressed with the local-based players during the two-match CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminary round tie against St. Vincent. The Rugger boys had to come from behind to draw 1-1 with the Vincy Heat in the first leg before a 3-0 win in the return leg at Sabina Park.
Work ethic and game intelligence was fantastic. And then in the squad, we chose 10 JPL players and young ones, as well as experience. The local players, they've really made it difficult for the UK and foreign-based players coming in. So it was a balance of 10 and 10, more or less, and the local players never shied away from the challenge, kept the tempo of training very high in intensity, which is what the starting 11 require.
Arnott Garden striker Warner Brown was among the goal scorers in the return leg.
Richard King was excellent defensively and coming out with the ball. Warner Brown's come in and not just caused problems with his pace, but held the ball up, was always a target for us.
Steve McLaren. The Jamaicans are now gearing up for a 4-team tournament in England in June to include Trinidad and Tobago, Nigeria and Ghana. The English Premier League has announced it will have 2 transfer windows this summer to allow Manchester City and Chelsea to sign players before the Club World Cup. The window will open between June 1 and June 10, then close for 5 days before running again from June 16 until September 1. This summer features the first expanded FIFA Club World Cup, which involves 32 teams and adopts the format of the regular World Cup of the past few years. Chelsea and Manchester City are the Premier League teams in the tournament, which takes place in the United States starting June 15. But the Premier League can only have 12 weeks of summer window, hence the 5-day break in order to run it until September 1. FIFA has allowed new players to be registered for the Club World Cup. Now to cricketers, former Jamaican West Indies all-rounder David Bernard Jr. has been tasked to coach the Cayman Islands senior men's cricket team for the inaugural 5-team North America T20 Cup competition. The tournament, which includes host Cayman Islands, Canada, Bermuda, USA and the Bahamas, will run from April 18 to 27. Speaking on Radio Cayman's Sports Extra, Bernard says the tournament will provide crucial preparation for his team ahead of the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup Americas qualifier later this year.
This is just a feeder into the bigger thing to come, which is the regional finals for the T20 World Cup qualification. But this is a great build-up to that. I think this level of competition has not been had before, and the good side of it is that it gives us the exposure to that level of competition. So to put it into perspective, 4 of the 5 teams that are playing in this competition will be fighting for that one spot in Canada. So it gives us a dress rehearsal of what the competition will be like. And to even top it off, we have USA who have already qualified for the World Cup. So we couldn't ask for a better preparation leading into the tournament, where we get a chance to expose our local talent, and they should be a lot more comfortable playing on home soil.
Bermuda will arrive early to get acclimatized to the facilities. Bernard says they'll use the opportunity to play the visitors in 2 warm-up matches.
It gives us the opportunity to expose all the resources we have in terms of players. It's basically our world where we get to tailor the teams to suit what our vision is. So there are 2 games, so you might find that both teams may be contrasting in terms of the structure of both teams. So it gives us the opportunity, as I say, it's great exposure for our players to play teams of this level. I mean, we just came out of the World Cup regional qualifiers in Argentina, and not to take away from our achievements there, but this is a much tougher tournament because, one, it's the top teams in the North America's region and the Americas when you put South America into it.
David Bernard Jr. Now to boxing, as president of World Boxing, Boris van der Vorst will begin an official visit to Jamaica starting March 29 when he lands at the Donald Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. The 4-day visit will conclude on Tuesday, April 2. Van der Vorst will get the opportunity to see firsthand Jamaica's boxing on display in Montego Bay when he visits the Jamaica Boxing Association's gym in the second city. He will also see the school's program, which is under development at St. Andrew Technical High School, starts at Bumper Hall in Kingston. Van der Vorst will also engage in discussions with stakeholders in the boxing community to strengthen, support, and endorse the development of boxing in Jamaica. President of the Jamaica Boxing Association, Stephen Bomber Jones, is looking forward to the visit.
Jamaica will be welcoming the president of World Boxing for the very first time, which is a really big deal, especially with boxing now officially included in the 2028 Olympic Games. We've been putting in the work here, the entire boxing fraternity, from the grassroots level right up to the elite. And I'm very proud that Jamaica is playing its part in boxing development across the region.
Jones says Van der Vorst sees Jamaica as an important plank in the development of the sport in the Caribbean region and the world.
So, as a regional goal is to make the Caribbean a real force to be reckoned with on the global stage. And having the president here gives us a chance to show what we're building and hopefully get his endorsement before he leaves.
Stephen Bomber Jones. Now on to swimming, as one of the good stories coming from the Mayberry Swim Classic and the high school season overall has been the rise of Carifta debutant Emmanuel Spence of Hillel. Spence was the top performer in the 12 and under 50 meters breaststroke, improving at each meet. At the ISA meet, she took gold in 39.12 seconds, as well as the victory at the ASAJ meet in 38.21 seconds. Spence won silver at the Mayberry meet in 38.17 seconds. She also improved at every competition in the 100 meters breaststroke. At the ISA and ASAJ meet, the events were open, and at the Mayberry, she swam in the 12 and under category. Spence placed 8th in 1 minute 30.56 seconds and was the youngest competitor in the top 8, while at ASAJ she secured the silver to the older Kia Alert in 1 minute 26.76 seconds. And at Mayberry she won gold in a personal best of 1 minute 25.55 seconds.
I've been working really hard with my coaches on my technique and building my endurance, especially for the 100 meter and 200 meter events. I love representing my school, and I feel really proud of how my high school season has gone. One of the high points of my high school season was my 100 meter breaststroke. At the ASAJ meet in February, I swam a personal best of 126.76, but my goal was to swim under 126. My coaches and I focused on improving my starts and technique, and at the Mayberry meet in March, I swam 125.55 in the final. I also did a PB in the 50 meter freestyle and went sub 29, which was exciting, but my 100 meter breaststroke is definitely the race I'm most proud of.
Spence says qualifying for Carifta was one of the goals she set at the beginning of the season.
Now that Carifta is almost here, I'm so excited, but I'm very focused on all that I have to do between now and the meet so I can be at my very best. It means a lot to me to represent Jamaica and race against some of the best swimmers in the region. I'm also looking forward to seeing my friends from other countries. I met a lot of them at Goodwill in 2022. Most of all, I want to go out there, swim fast, and leave it all in the pool.
Emmanuel Spence. And finally, in golf, officials lobbying for golf to include a mixed competition at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics are optimistic the proposal will be accepted by the International Olympic Committee. A meeting on Monday will hear golf's submission to include a 2-day mixed event which would be staged between the men's and women's individual tournaments. President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, says his association supports the move.
As mixed competitions embody the Olympic spirit and mutuality and foster and exemplify the Olympic mandate faster, higher, stronger, and together. That should be the experience of our men and women in sport.
Golf's return to the Games has been judged an overwhelming success. Justin Rose won men's gold for Great Britain in Rio 2016 in the first Olympic golf tournament for 112 years. In Paris last year, world number 1 Scottish Scheffler snatched a thrilling victory in the men's event, while New Zealand's Lydia Ko claimed the women's title to complete a personal set of gold, silver and bronze medals. But critics said The sport was missing a trick by not having a combined mixed team competition.
A mixed competition in sport will always have an appeal to media and broadcast interests, as well as financiers and capital. And golf has always been a viable candidate and a return on investment. Golf really deserves this, given the global support it continues to enjoy, not only as a sport, but as a commercial event, which has undoubtedly become a bankable experience on the course.
Christopher Samuda. The International Golf Federation has signaled its desire to add an event where one pair from each competing nation would compete in a 2-day tournament to be held in the gap between the 60-player individual tournaments. I'm Alex Ribby. That's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:24.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
27 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 28 in Montego Bay.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
So Bonnie, you renew your road license yet?
Babes, the road have me away. I can't even find time, but you know money for me.
Because see, I shall out them money the back for late fee and record fee when you sit down make your road license expire for you.
Well, transport authority so we can apply online. And that may go to know.
Operators of public passenger vehicles and commercial carriers, renew your road license before April 1 and avoid late penalty. A message from the Transport Authority.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Looking for a gym that's got it all? Welcome to Express Fitness, where fitness meets convenience. With 24/7 access, you can work out whenever it suits you. And with island-wide locations, we're always close by anywhere and anytime. Love classes? We've got them. From aerobics to dance to spin, you name it, we've got it. Our certified trainers are here to take you on a journey. Call us at 888-FITNESS or visit our website at expressfitnessja.com. Express Fitness, your goal or mission.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. It's the eve of Friday, Thursday. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. So, let's get to it. Jamaica welcomed the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio for an official visit on Wednesday. Secretary Rubio engaged in bilateral meetings with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and other senior government officials. Now, coming out of the talks, Secretary Rubio announced his commitment to reviewing the U.S.'s travel advisories against Jamaica.
We did talk about tourism because obviously it's a significant part of your economy, and we pledged we were going to go back and reevaluate the travel advisories as they currently stand to ensure that they do reflect the reality of the new numbers and what the numbers show.
Additionally, Secretary Rubio says Jamaica has not been singled out as a country regarding problems with the Cuban medical mission.
The first thing is to separate medical from the labor issues that we are pointing to. Okay, this is not about doctors. Okay, this is not about the provision of medical assistance. We have no problem with medical assistance. We have no problem with doctors. We have a problem, and I'm not speaking about Jamaica. We've discussed this today about, following international labor standards and the like, but I'm just talking about this program in general, how it's operated around the world. And how it's operated around the world is that basically the doctors are not paid. In many other parts of the world, the doctors are not paid. You pay the Cuban government. The Cuban government decides how much of anything to give them. They take away their passports. They basically operate as forced labor in many places.
Marco Rubio, United States Secretary of State. Now, the U.S. government announced recently that it was expanding an existing Cuba-related visa restriction policy that targets forced labor. The policy specifically targets individuals linked to Cuba's labor markets. That should be labor export program, particularly its overseas medical missions. Secretary Rubio's visit marks the fourth by a U.S. Secretary of State in the past 7 years. He follows the footsteps of Rex Tillerson, who visited in February 2018, Mike Pompeo in January 2020, and Anthony Blinken, who attended the Haiti-related Kingston talks in May 2024. That's something indeed. So in public opinion this evening, we're asking, what's your reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Jamaica? We'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform, where Vivienne Hanchard is saying diplomacy at its best. Kudos to our Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister. For Elarita Mitchell, she's saying it was fruitful, insightful, beneficial. He clarified and dispelled many of the lies and propaganda being spread by those who push divisions and conflicts for political mileage. For Philip Jackson, he's saying that top-class bilateral conversion, is about speculation and judgment. Yeah? This is how a PM in the person, as Andrew Holness, conduct himself. The foreign minister is in a class by herself, and Philip Jackson says he's proud of how it's been handled by Jamaica, and he's saying that Jamaica wins again. Salome Paul saying to us that the rumors that were swirling about his visit were put to rest, and all in all, it was a fruitful visit. Juliet Richards, too, saying that Jamaica wins again. Cleveland Richards, it was a very important visit, and our Prime Minister was the real big man. Yeah? Carlington Bartley saying maximum respect. It was a sober man-to-man talk. The Lord works in mysterious ways and his wonders to perform. Don't we all know it? Courtney Mack saying Andrew win, and all who wanted him to make reckless comments, like his Caribbean counterparts, he left them disappointed. Yeah. Let me see if I can get to some of the comments now on our X platform. Yeah. What's your reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Jamaica? For Archangel, For Archangel, it was interesting that he chose Jamaica as his first English-speaking Caribbean country to visit. I'm sure some positive plans and objectives will be achieved from this visit. For Gems is saying overall the visit highlighted the U.S.'s commendation and commitment to strengthening partnership with Jamaica, which is a win for the country. Harris Delroy is saying the diplomacy I expected from my government was on full display. Well done, Team Jamaica. Quickly now to our Instagram platform, One Empress is saying it's a delicate dance of diplomacy. Yeah? Omar Showens is saying it was refreshing seeing Jamaica still respected in the international world. Also glad all the distractors were put to rest about the Cuba situation. For Titch Sharno is saying, I am confident that the dialogue initiated will lead to tangible outcomes, benefiting both our people and contributing to mutual stability and prosperity. Kimmy R is saying that they have a lot of respect for us. The dregs will say otherwise. Whoa. Whoa. All right. To our YouTubers now, what's your reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Jamaica? Let's hear what y'all have to say about that. Let's see. The comments are coming in. Let me see. Gloria Johnson saying that we thank God for giving us this government led by Andrew Holness and brilliant team of leaders. At a time such as this, they are an example of what good governance and leadership do for their country. Let me see if I can get a few more. Robert McKenzie, what are you wowing about? Let me see if I can get a few more. Robert McKenzie says, Robian, are you shaking hands with What? Say what? Not Scorpion says the excellent performance of government have given the PNP nothing to debate on. All right, so that's unrelated to the question being asked here. Let me see. Maureen McKenzie saying that Jamaica win again. Shirley Augustine saying it was the best of the best. He was the best one to come to Jamaica. It feels like love. Lots of respect to our PM. I'm proud of my PM, says Shirley. Yeah? Let me see if I can get in a few more. Calvin Watson saying to us that the visit was very good under the Dr. Andrew Holness-led administration. All right. Marlene P. saying it dispelled all rumors about the Cuban doctors and nurses. Cheryl Williams says, if I was to follow the bloggers last week, I would think the Prime Minister sell out Cuba. Yeah, Silly Billy saying it was a great meeting. Jamaican interest comes first, says Derek Lewis. Yeah, a lot of comments coming in on this one. Again, I must say that Secretary Rubio's visit marked the fourth by a U.S. Secretary of State in the past 7 years. 7, yeah? That's amazing. Yeah. Phil Island Boom. All right. That's it for our public opinion this evening. Thank you so much for participating. The business report is up next.
Public opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:35. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has decided to hold its policy interest rate at 6% per annum while reducing the Standing Liquidity Facility SLF rate from 8% to 7%. The decision was announced on Thursday following the Monetary Policy Committee's meetings the previous day. The Bank of Jamaica says the decision aims to support inflation stability while enhancing monetary transmission mechanisms. Now, according to the BOJ, the MPC deliberated on the economic uncertainties surrounding the policies of Jamaica's main trading partners. Despite these external factors, the committee concluded that the current monetary policy stance remains appropriate to sustain inflation within the target range over the next 2 years. The central bank says the reduction in the SLF margin will lower the cost of short-term liquidity for commercial banks, which is expected to promote stability in short-term market interest rates. To other news, customers of the National Commercial Bank Jamaica Limited, NCB, is reminding customers that, NCB is reminding customers that all its Midas debit cards will be deactivated on March 31, 2025. After this date, the cards will no longer be accepted for transactions at ABMs or point-of-sale terminals. The NCB Midas card was first introduced in the early 2000s and has been in use for over decades. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 158 Jamaican dollars and 35 cents to buy $1 US, 204 Jamaican dollars and 17 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 110 Jamaican dollars and 45 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Win with love. Use your JMMB Money Transfer Prepaid Visa Card from October 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 for a chance to win your share of a $2.1 million grand prize, plus a $100,000 university cash grant and cash back from paying tolls and shopping with your card. Receive money 24/7 in minutes with Visa Direct via MoneyGram, Zoom, Remitly, or directly through RIA and Zoom. Visit jm.jmnb.com/money-transfer for full details on how to enter and win with love. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply.
Looking for a gym that's got it all? Welcome to Express Fitness, where fitness meets convenience. With 24/7 access, you can work out whenever it suits you. And with island-wide locations, we're always close by anywhere and anytime. Love classes? We've got them. From aerobics to dance to spin, you name it, we've got it. Our certified trainers are here to take you on a journey. Call us at 888-FITNESS or visit our website at expressfitnessja.com. Express Fitness, your goal or mission.
My Mega Mart, best value by far.
With so much to do in one location, make Mega Mart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Area Council 1 meets in St. Andrew Eastern this Sunday, Mountain View Primary School, 5 p.m. Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie leads the charge with MP Fable Williams. Labor rights roll out to hear MPs Juliet Holness, Delroy Chuck, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Donovan Williams, Robert Miller, Senator Apka Fitz-Henley, and other champions. JLP active, stronger party with the stronger team. St. Andrew Eastern stands on a record of performance with MP Fable Williams, and we choose Jamaica this Sunday, Mountain View Primary School, 5 p.m. See you there!
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM from 6 to 9 p.m. for a broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting at Mountain View Primary School, Sunday, March 30. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the West Kingston constituency and the Jamaica Labour Party. Due to the broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting on Sunday, March 30, Jamaican Dads, Immaculate Moments, and Baha'i Faith will not be aired.
.642, you're tuned in to Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. During his contribution to the 2025-2026 budget debate last week, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness announced several plans for road maintenance. He says the government is seeking to do more to address the long-standing issue of deplorable road conditions across the country.
We are undertaking a strategic review
of road maintenance, with a focus on institutional governance arrangements to give consideration to the possible establishment of a single road authority to streamline governance and oversight. With this in place, we can have clear lines of enforcement against persons who destroy our roads. It is particularly disturbing to see concrete spilled on our roads and no accountability for clearing and restoration.
That's the Prime Minister. Dr. Holness says it's time Jamaica has a more uniformed way of naming and mapping roads.
We are also integrating geospatial technologies and AI-driven solutions to improve planning and efficiency. We have significantly mapped and referenced over 90% of all roads in Jamaica. This information will help us to create an intelligence register of all our roads, to use it in spatial planning, and importantly, to develop a fiscal preventative maintenance plan which aligns to the engineered lifespan of the road. This also lays the basis for smarter and connected infrastructure to address traffic, public safety, civil defense, security, and logistics. To this end, I have given directions to the NAA and the Spatial Data Management Branch to begin work on developing a uniformed address system and zip code for Jamaica, including the use of digital addresses.
That's Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Prime Minister also announced that the government will be introducing open road tolling, which will allow motorists to pay without stopping at a toll booth.
Madam Speaker, let me now speak on toll roads, which is a critical aspect of our improved connectivity, productivity, and efficiency. We know that long waiting times at toll plazas can cause costly delays, frustration, and impact the nation's productivity. The Angels Toll Plaza is now one of the busiest of our network. And I'm pleased to announce that 3 additional lanes will be added to the Angels Toll Plaza. We are very advanced with the engineering designs for those. A longer term, more transformative change will be the introduction of open road tolling. This is a state-of-the-art system that allows vehicles to be charged electronically without having to stop at a toll booth. This system is widely used across the world and has proven to be faster, more efficient, and more convenient. The Montego Bay Perimeter Road will serve as the first road to have this system.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he was making his contribution to the 2025-26 budget debate recently. Joining us now to discuss, the Minister of Works, Robert Morgan. But just before we go to the Minister, let's take a quick time signal and come back.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now
15 minutes to 7. Back with you on Nation. Go ahead, Sanjay.
Back with you here on Nationwide at 5. It's the nation's business. And as is indicated earlier, we have the Minister of Works, Robert Morgan. Good afternoon. I should say good evening, Minister Morgan.
Good evening. Minister? No, not hearing the Minister.
Don't have the Minister.
So we're discussing this business of roads, Sanjay. The Prime Minister outlining several plans for road maintenance, how to ensure that the nation's roads are in tip-top shape. Of course, that was a major point of concern around about the latter part of last year.
Yes.
Having had so much rain, you know, the roads did take a battering, and the government really moved, to be fair to them, pretty quickly to repair several major thoroughfares. Of course, there was the REACH program. There's a Spark program now that's underway. So yes, a lot happening in terms of infrastructure, works, roads in the country.
And it seems to me also, Ricardo, that based on the announcement made by the Prime Minister, the government will be a bit more proactive, because one of the things we recognize that we're very reactive sometimes with road repairs. When we have a major disaster, a new program or a new initiative is announced to deal with road patching or to fix an area of the road, and then it dies. Yeah. And you hear the opposition talking about bringing back the road maintenance fund, and the Prime Minister, clearly the government is not heading in that direction. But I mean, a comprehensive system of how we're mapping our road network, etc. That's needed.
Yeah.
And it will be interesting to hear more from the minister as to how they're going to go about doing this.
He's with us now. Good evening,
Wonderful.
Minister. Minister Morgan?
Hi, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, hearing you clearly now. You're up in North Central Clarendon?
Well, I'm actually leaving North Central Clarendon.
Very well.
The connection. You know,
Minister,
you,
you need to
transfer your votes to North Central, because I'm here every day, so it will be easier to reach me.
You need to speak to your counterpart, Minister, about speaking to the providers about the network.
I will, definitely.
But,
all right, gentlemen, how can I help?
Minister, the Prime Minister outlined several initiatives aimed at improving road conditions. Talk to us and give us some more details on the specific projects planned under this new maintenance push.
So, as you would realize, we, this financial year, have spent more money than ever before on road maintenance, which is $8.7 billion. And this has a lot to do with burial. It has a lot to do with the challenges with the roads that have reached the end of life. But the Prime Minister wants to go a bit further. He wants to ensure that there's a sustainability. So one of the things that we have done is we have done a survey of every single road in Jamaica to find out who owns this road, whether it is the Parish Council, whether it is the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, or whether it is the National Works Agency, and we have found 27,000 kilometers of roads. The challenge, however, is that the National Works Agency is only responsible for 5,000 kilometers of road, which is usually main roads, and the various municipalities and agencies are responsible for the rest. But who determines the standard?
No.
Oh dear,
the connection is going. Minister?
Yeah.
No, the connection is going. So the minister there outlining to us just about how the government is thinking about it. He talked about the mapping already done. The minority of the roads identified are under the NWA's purview, and he was about to explain to us now what happens to the other roads. I suppose those are the parish council roads. A lot of times people just, they're upset about the road and they blame central government. So it'll be important to hear how that management is going to happen going forward.
I suspect also, Ricardo, part of that discussion is about one road maintenance authority, which I've always said is very important. Jamaicans are not concerned if this is local government or central government. The road is the road, and the road ought to be fixed. So there's need for it.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes, I decided to stop because this is a very important
discussion.
Yes.
Right.
So the Prime Minister basically wants a one road authority. Doesn't mean that we're going to take away the roads from the Parish Council, or rather, but who is responsible for the regulation of the repair and management of roads, and who is going to ensure that the various agencies have a responsibility and are executing their responsibility. We had a long consultation with the World Bank. They were here a few weeks ago. The Prime Minister and myself were in a meeting with them, and they're helping us to craft an approach to ensure that going forward, we don't end up in a situation that we are in. Yes, we're doing Spark, which is $45 billion, fixing the most money ever spent on community roads. Yes, we're increasing the National Works Agency budget. We're doing the perimeter road in St. James. We're doing the ship. But sustainability is the most important thing. Which roads need to be repaired in 7 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, so that the public does not end up in a situation that we ended up in last year, where so many roads became undrivable, and there was no budget to fix them. We had to do an emergency program.
Mm-hmm. And this road authority, this road authority, how would it differ from what's done by the NWA?
Based on the discussions that we've been having with the various World Bank, and we've been having discussions with the Works Agency and so on, we're trying to find a regulator. I mean, we're at the beginning of the process. We started a while back under Mike Henry, but nobody really took it on. But recognizing the challenges that we've had over the last 12 months, we have said to ourselves as a government, listen, we need to have a regulator for roads. So, for example, Balmoral Avenue, there's an entity there that is releasing effluent onto the road. the NWA cannot sanction this entity because this entity is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not. And while Balmoral is a main road, we cannot really get this entity to stop releasing effluent on the main road. And the effluent that they're releasing is essentially soap water and so on. It's a car wash.
Yeah.
It was on Nora Gay Bantam's program a couple of weeks ago where we patched the road and it was destroyed because of this entity. The parish council has a responsibility to sanction this entity, but the parish council has not done anything. How do we cause the parish council or the National Works Agency or whichever entity to sanction or enforce rules about the road? If you come to the stadium intersection at a stoplight, you will see significant amount of asphalt. If you go on Red Hills, Stony Hill Road or Red Hills Road, if you go on Dunrobin, you will see cement on the road.
Yes.
Who is responsible? Yeah, the police can sanction the truck and they catch the truck and charge them $50,000 on a ticket. But how many police? Are you going to put a police at every intersection?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So those are some of the things that we need to deal with.
So let me see if I get this right, Minister, because this is important. Because sometimes I've seen some trucks, for example, and clearly they're overweight. And I wonder to myself, the rocks that are falling off and impacting the road surface, the weight, and I wondered to myself, who regulates or monitors that? You're saying that regulator would do things like that to make sure...
That is exactly what it is. So the NWA is not able. The NWA is responsible for main roads, A1 and A2.
Mm-hmm.
But the NWA does not have what you would call a regulatory unit. It doesn't have a sanction unit where NWA personnel would go out on the road and stand up and look and see who is damaging the road. We need something like that. We need somebody who is going to be able to say to industry, for example, the persons who produce cement and have the cement trucks. If you emanate effluent onto the road, you're going to be sanctioned. Or you're going to have to pay a fee every year because we know that you're going to release effluent on the road, and this fee is going to help to repair the road, right? So those are options that we have.
But outside of regulation, Minister, which is very important, how is it that the central authority now is going to coordinate the road repair aspect, which is another big issue when it comes on to central government road or parish council road, etc.?
Because you will now be able to say to the government, we have a database of roads based on our survey that says that we have 27,000 kilometers of road. Of the 27,000 kilometers of road, 5,000 kilometers have become due for repair. We are sending a report to the government and to the NWA, to the parish council, that you need to put in a budget over the next 2 years to ensure that these roads are repaired. The problem that we've had in the past is that we don't know which road is going to come to end of life because we didn't know how many roads we had. We didn't know how many kilometers of roads we had. We did not know which road required repair, nor which road required repair next year, what is quality of road. So like, for example, with Spark is giving us a start where Spark is going to assess the quality of the road, it's going to repair the road, and it's going to tell us that this road has a 7-year to 10-year warranty in the sense that this road will need to be repaired or overlaid within 7 to 10 years. Just like what we did in Barbican Square, where the China Harbor was a part of the project and they did a road, and we looked at the road and there was a warranty on the road that says within 2 years, if this road does not live up to standard, then you have to come back and overlay it. Same thing we're doing in the South Coast Highway Improvement Project. For the regulator is going to say, we're going to allow you to build roads at XYZ standard, and after XYZ amount of years, the government has an obligation to repair the road. So we can put in the budget an allocation in 7 years' time to say, these roads after 27,000 kilometers need to be repaired this year. So there is predictability.
Right.
And it's before...
Right, yeah, that's my question. So what happens if it goes bad before the 7 years?
Then there's somebody that needs to be sanctioned. because the road was guaranteed for 7 years. So if I hire Ricardo Brooks and Company to build a road, Ricardo Brooks has to give me a 2-year warranty on the road, like what we have at the South Coast Highway Improvement Project.
Yes.
If before the 2 years done, the road gets damaged, then Ricardo Brooks and Company has to fix the road. After the 2 years now, it's the government's responsibility to say, between the second year and the 7th year, this is my road.
Yes.
So if a pothole comes up, the government is responsible. But at the end of 7 years, then the government now has to say, all right, well, this road has come to end of life. We have in our budget 20 million, 30 million, 40 million to repair this road, which is something that we have not had before.
I want to be clear on something, Minister. So when the central authority submits to either local government or central government to say, this stretch of road is coming to its end, the lifespan, time for it to be repaired, is it that by them sending that to the government, it is a must that the government have to allocate funds to repair those roads?
The challenge that governments have always had with road repair is predictability. So we have not done a good job historically of predicting when roads are going to fail. Roads are very predictable, you know. If you put asphalt on a road, if you look at the highways that we have built, the toll roads, you notice that the Trans-Jamaica, every couple of years, overlays the entire highway. Because Trans-Jamaica recognizes that asphalt has a shelf life. What we have done as a country, because of our various mismanagement of our economy and not being able to find the funds to manage our affairs and to repair our roads, is that we have laid the roads down and we have just left them. So a road that is supposed to last 10 years has to last for 15 years. And then what we do is we patch the road in order to extend its life, when patching is really a temporary mechanism. What we're trying to do as a government is to say, listen, this road should last 10 years. We're going to put a budget in place so that before the 10 years or whenever the 10 years come, we have a budget to fix it. That's not something we have done before, because we have never had the financial strength as a country to predict and to live up to the prediction that, listen, when this road finish, we will have the money to fix it.
The problem that I have, though, Minister, is that if the central authority, there is no power in place which says once they send this over to the government that the roads, whatever they have listed, must be repaired, then the government can always decide they're pushing it back for 2 more years or 3 more years. Because
it's going to have to be not just a policy position, but it also has to be a legislative action. What we're seeking to do is we're going to look at the local government laws, we're going to look at the agricultural laws, we're going to look at the National Works Agency road maintenance laws, and we're going to make some modifications. We've already started the studies, we've already started the discussions, not just locally. We're going to have to discuss with the parish councillors and the mayors and so on. We're going to have to discuss with the MPs, the opposition and so on, to come to a consensus as to what type of legislation, which is a homogeneous legislation that looks at every aspect of our roads, whether it be minor roads, whether it be A1, whether it be A, so that we can say, okay, this is the approach as a country we are taking to road maintenance. So it cannot be just policy, because policy changes from government to government.
Right.
Legislation is more long-term, but in order for us to do it and ensure that it lasts, we have to have consensus between various stakeholders, communities, councillors, mayors, MPs on both sides, civil society groups, and so on. And that's the process we're about to start.
I know you have to leave us soon, but I have 2 more for you, so just please stay with us. Let's take a quick time signal and come back. The Minister of Works, Robert Morgan, is with us.
Jamaica's Spark program is investing $45 billion to improve roads, water, and telecom. Better infrastructure for a better future. The time by Spark is
2 minutes after 7. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We have with us the Minister of Works, Robert Morgan, talking to us about the administration's plans for road maintenance in the country over the medium to long term, I would say. So the Central Authority Minister, you're projecting that you'll be able to bring that into force in about what time span?
I suspect that we'll be able to do that within about 18 months. The legislative process is not a perfect process, but we have already started the consultations. We have already gotten international assistance in terms of how to frame it, and then we need to work with our various stakeholders, the parish councils, the MPs, the National Works Agency, to come up with a proper framework. We've already started the work from, let's say, 2011 under Mike Henry, and we have taken all of that data that we did, and we're trying to update that data and work with our partners to see how we can implement something within 18 months.
Okay. We have an active YouTube community, as you know, and they're asking me to ask you for an update on Spark.
Well, Spark is on. We have already announced 126 roads, some of which have started already, some of which are in the process. Every MP in Jamaica has received a letter asking them to associate their liaison officer with the roads. I know that China Harbour and various local entities have already been in communities doing scoping. We have places like Riches Avenue, we have places like Orange Grove, we have places like Harbour Heights, which have already started. I want it to be a bit more faster, but I have to work with the various entities, for example, China Harbour and NWA. What I can say to the public is that we have 126 roads now. By September, we would have started probably about 252. So by September, October, we would have finished 252 roads. We expect that the first 126 roads will be finished by June. So that's the update.
I'm specifically being asked to ask you about Spanish Town Road. Tony's asking, what about Spanish Town Road?
Requires $60 million to do properly. There's a big plan, a capital project to do Spanish Town Road. In the interim, we're going to spend about $80 million over the next 3 to 4 months to give some respite to the public, the motoring public. There are a lot of issues in Spanish Town Road, for example. There's a sewage issue on Spanish Town Road. There's an issue where the base of the road has failed. But there's also the concern of what do we do with Marcus Garvey Drive. We have Spanish Town Road and Marcus Garvey Drive. We are in discussions and planning as to whether or not we should merge those two roads, expand Spanish Town Road, and so on. But that's a discussion that the Prime Minister will have to articulate from a policy perspective, but that's something that we're discussing. Yeah. But I can guarantee the public that short term, we're going to spend $80 million on Spanish Town Road to give some respite to the public. Long term, we're going to spend $60 million on Spanish Town Road to give a permanent solution, which includes drainage, which includes a resolution to the sewage issue that affects constituencies like that of Desmond McKenzie, that of the opposition leader Mark Golding, and so on.
I think we might have to have you back for an hour just to talk about specific roads, because I think I made an error, because now the chat is just blowing up asking about specific roads, and I know you can't answer all of these right now.
Yes. I tell radios all the time, the minute you start talking about individual roads, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, because I'm getting questions from Black River, Mavis Bank.
And remember, Ricardo, we haven't touched on the open road tolling and the idea of this postal or zip code that the Prime Minister announced. So much more that we have to talk to you about, Minister.
Thing. Some of us have been to Miami and Florida, where you just drive through the toll and it records your license plate, and you get a toll that based on attached to your debit card or credit card. Mm-hmm. That's what we're trying to do. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of the ability to identify the car and the owner.
Yes.
Because a lot of cars that drive on the road, it's not the owner driving.
Not the owner, which is exactly where I was going. Yes.
Right. But if you give your car to someone, what open tolling will say is that the toll is attached to the owner of the car, not necessarily the driver of the car. So if you go to America right now and you rent a car, your credit card is attached to the rental, and you will drive through Florida freely, and you will see the flashing light. And then a week later, you see that your debit card has been debited for like $60 for tolling. It's similar to that. But we have to work out the kinks because Jamaica is not a country that has as good of a car owner identification system as possible.
Right.
NIDS is going to help, but what we think is that it's a good way to give some efficiency to the tolling system. If you look at Portmore Toll, there are evenings when Portmore Toll is at capacity.
Yeah.
You look at Angels, it's at capacity. And we don't think expanding the toll while we're expanding Angels, in the long term, as more people, we have increased the amount of motor vehicles in Jamaica by at least 150% over the last 8 years. You can't expand the toll consistently over that time. So open tolling is something that we think will really give some efficiency to the tolling system and make people go home a little bit earlier, not have to sit in line.
Yeah. If I could just squeeze one in quickly, Minister, the matter of postal codes, because I remember, I think it was Blossom Amelia Nelson under her tenureship, there was this idea, we had postal codes. Is it that we're going to build on that existing system, or we're going to create something completely new?
Well, we do have some Kingston 8, Kingston 9, Kingston 13, but I think it's not as efficient as it should be. There are many areas in Jamaica that have postal agencies. And I think what the Prime Minister, with the geolocation and the geotagging, the Prime Minister wants to give every single community a designated location. And what that does is that it allows the government to be more efficient in providing services. For example, ticketing, for example, tolling, for example, providing pass services, which is welfare, and so on. So the Prime Minister wants to create a system in Jamaica where every single address has a postal code and is specifically geolocated. So there's no dispute as to where is Kingston 8 Lot 5, because it would have been geolocated and designated as this area on the map within legislation based on the legislative framework that we're trying to enhance there.
All right. I'm going to ask you to come back for about an hour, Minister, because you should see the question.
I'm always available.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. It's
Yeah,
an
man.
exciting time for Jamaica. It's an exciting time for our road infrastructure. We've never seen so much development before, and I'm very willing to come and talk to you guys and answer questions.
All right. So, YouTubers, we're going to work on that to get the Minister here for at least an hour so that you can ask your specific question. Because, trust me, they're blowing up the chat with all kinds of roads from all over the country. And I don't want to put you on the spot by just throwing them at you right now. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys, and thanks to your listeners for listening.
All the best, Minister.
Digicel, live life your way, no free what? Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for two to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes. Event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now. With Digicel, better connected.
Promotion ends March 31. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for, and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO.
IPO.
With Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
For generations, Jamaican families have trusted Imperial Optical to keep their vision clear and their style sharp. From their first eye exam to the latest in fashion frames, we've been there for every milestone, every moment, and every memory. Whether it's your child's first day at school or your grandparents' golden years, our care spans every age, every stage. Visit Imperial Optical today. Generations of care, generations of trust.
Coveside Concert Series presents
timeless. It happens on March 29 at Plantation Cove, St. Anne, featuring international superstar Dionne Warwick and more stars, Myrna Hague, Queen Marcia Griffiths, and Dwayne Stevens. Timeless, March 29. Showtime is 8 p.m. and tickets are now available at Fesco, Fontana Pharmacy, Plantation Smokehouse, and online at coveside.aitix.com.
Minutes after 7, we're going to go to Canada now because the new Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, he's saying that Canada's old relationship with the United States is over. And he made the comment today while speaking to reporters in Ottawa after a cabinet meeting.
Carney says the decision is based on deepening integration of the two countries' economies and tight security and military cooperation. The Prime Minister says Canadians must reimagine their economy in the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs.
Carney says Canada would respond with retaliatory tariffs that will have maximum impact on the U.S. Trump announced on Wednesday he would target imported vehicles and vehicle parts with a 25% tax. The new car tariffs will come into effect on April 2.
Carney has switched his campaign plans ahead of next month's general election to confront the latest import duties. He says President Trump had reached out to him on Wednesday to schedule a call, which would take place in the next day or two. More in this report from France 24 English.
Canadian Prime Minister says his government will fight US tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of its own, but will wait a week to officially respond. Mark Carney says he'll speak first with provincial premiers and business leaders to discuss a coordinated response after Donald Trump announced plans on Wednesday to impose levies of 25% on imported cars. Carney says nothing is off the table.
We won't back down. We will respond forcefully. Nothing is off the table to defend our workers and our country. The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation.
For the very latest on this story, let's cross live now to Ottawa, where our correspondent Christopher Gooley is standing by. Christopher, no immediate response then from Canada, but what options are open to Mark Carney? What actions might he end up taking next week?
Well, the obvious one would be retaliatory tariffs. That's been discussed in the last few days. Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, Canada's most populous province, also wants retaliatory tariffs, but Mark Carney's playing it really careful today. He's not showing his cards. He wants to speak to Donald Trump, and that'll happen either tomorrow or the next day. And I think he's drawing from his business background, his banking background. He's going to do this behind closed doors. He's firm, but I think he's sent a few signals out in the last 24 hours. For me, most particularly was yesterday when he referred to the U.S. as Canada's neighbor, no longer Canada's friend.
And do you expect then to see a markedly different response then from Mark Carney than that we would have seen from his predecessor when all of this started, this trade war, tariff and these threats coming from Donald Trump?
I think that Mark Carney's reflecting the mood in Canada of this fatigue, this back and forth. It's almost daily. Mark Carney's been Prime Minister for 9 days. Donald Trump's been president for just a little over 2 months. And the country, Canada, is exhausted by this back and forth cross-border tariff threat. I think that Mark Carney's shutting this down. He's going to do this behind closed doors. He's not going to negotiate in public. But I think he's also made it very clear that he's looking across the Atlantic. He went to France and the UK within 24 hours of winning the Liberal leadership and becoming the Prime Minister designate. And I think that shows that Canada is now looking elsewhere for all kinds of alliances, not the least of which involves trade.
Yeah, because we don't know at this stage whether these particular tariffs are going to be stacked on top of the 25% levies that are being imposed separately on all goods coming from Canada. So how are businesses there even able to prepare for what might be ahead? How are producers reacting to all of this?
I think the timeline is next week, April 2nd, could be April 3rd, when Trump announces his tariffs, his next round of tariffs. And I think that's when Canada's probably going to respond in a very formal way. How are businesses responding? Well, I think there's panic. I mean, there are layoffs. The Canadian dollar's down. Markets are reacting. Donald Trump talks about creating a homegrown U.S. auto manufacturing hub. Mark Carney said the same thing yesterday. He invested over $1 billion to focus on Canadian-made automobile manufacturing. The thing is, for both countries, is that for decades now, that manufacturing has been cross-border. A little bit of part of a vehicle is made on one side of the border, crosses over to the other side of the border, and back and forth, and you get the fully assembled vehicle. So now there's going to be a reconstruction of that manufacturing capability effectively on both sides of the border. At the bottom line is that tariffs, as we've been talking about for weeks now, are going to hurt both sides, Canada and the U.S. American workers are going to be out of jobs as they are in Canada.
Christopher, thanks so much for all of that. That is our correspondent, France 24's Christopher Cooley, joining us there from Ottawa.
That report there from France 24 English. And Sanjay, we were talking to the foreign minister earlier, and I have to tell you, I was enraged by some of the reactions that I saw online before Secretary Rubio visited Jamaica, because I couldn't for the life of me understand what people wanted Jamaica to do, and whether we were at all in those calls being prudent or mindful of the impact that the calls we were making could have on Jamaica. It just never make any sense to me.
And which is why I asked the question, Ricardo, because when you're dealing with this matter of diplomacy, you have to be very strategic, but also we understand that you have a population that they want to see that you're tough, but you have to be careful. The Prime Minister of Canada, for example, Canada is going into early elections, evidently because of the change in leadership and Mark Carney wanting his own mandate. And one of the biggest challenges they're facing now is that trade war between them and the US. He's also being diplomatic because he's saying Canada will be tough, playing to the people, but he's also not playing his cards because, of course, he's supposed to meet with US President Donald Trump, which is exactly the point that you're also raising. You can't say too much and play your cards early. Yeah, you have to have some things behind closed doors. And that's exactly what the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Jamaica did when this whole saga between what the comment that US made about Cuban doctors, etc. You have to be strategic.
Yeah. And I think what it does is give me some amount of confidence that the foreign policy affairs of Jamaica are being handled properly, and that our government, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, will not easily bow to pressure, because you heard her several times earlier saying that she comes under very targeted and specific criticism, and sometimes as a human being that can be demotivating, especially if you know that you're acting as best you can under the circumstances, and people with limited information are just calling for all kinds of nonsense.
And please be reminded that as a small island, a dot in this global village, when you're dealing with countries that are seen as superpowers, you have to be careful how you make certain comments in the open public. Because that can affect you when you decide to go behind closed doors and have those meetings.
And let's take it a step further to put a finer point on it. Donald Trump is a vengeful man.
Exactly.
He retaliates. So I couldn't understand what exactly would have been achieved. Mia Motley, Ralph Gonsalves, they govern how they want to govern in Bridgetown and in Kingston. That's for them, right? Here in Jamaica, I want my government to act prudently in a measured way. And I think for me, it also shows that perhaps having been there now for 9 years, she's been foreign minister, I believe. She's settled in the job and she knows how best to approach it. I was encouraged. I felt very, very pleased yesterday when I saw how everything unfolded.
I will say also, Ricardo, I remember us when that first matter of the Cuban doctors came to the public. We had Christopherson on this very program. And I remember, I think it was Siobhan who asked him about making a bold statement such as Mia Motley and Ralph Gonzalez, and the minister simply responded and saying, some things we just don't say in public. Allow the process to continue. The Foreign Affairs Ministry is already dealing with it, and then we will see the outcome of it, which is exactly what you want to hear from a government. You don't want to come and make bold statements like what the two leaders in the Caribbean they decided to do. To what end? To say that, oh, you're bold and you're making certain comments. So
It's a kind
what are
of,
you trying to prove?
It's a kind of blind and reckless idealism that I have little time for. And those, frankly, those here, you know, who sometimes want to put down Jamaica and glorify the Barbadian Prime Minister and the Vincentian Prime Minister, I think it's poor. It's poor because ultimately our interests must be secured.
Yeah.
Over everything else, over any vanity project about regionalism, and our interests are important. And I would not have been pleased if my Prime Minister had come out in a reckless way to make reckless comments, and then the country suffered. And then we said what? That we stood on principle? To what end? And as the minister said, on what principle? It depends on what you define principle as.
You may get some loud marks from those in social media. And I saw the comments on that very post from Mia Motley. And to what end? Because the same Prime Minister who made that bold statement, she flew to Jamaica to meet with the U.S. Secretary of State. So to what end?
I sometimes when we, in our personal dislike and disdain, and I keep saying it, and you don't have to like Andrew Holness. You don't have to like him. You can revile him all you want, but that should not be at the expense of Jamaica. You should not pray for him to fail, because that will be at the expense of Jamaica. And it felt to me when I saw those comments, that, I don't know, unpatriotic keeps coming to mind. And I don't want to say that because I really don't like disparaging people like that. But it felt that way, that we were praying for Jamaica to fail at this, for him to make a wrong step and for Jamaica to fail. I didn't like that. I don't like it. And it felt the same way. Let me just make this point. When we ran for Commonwealth Secretary General, some of those voices were the same voices that were talking down Jamaica's chances. And it was only because it was this administration and they probably didn't like Kamina Johnson-Smith. And as I said, it shouldn't have been about her. It should have been about Jamaica being elevated to a prominent international role. But
I will say this also, Ricardo. In any government, regardless of which political party, I want a government that is strategic.
Absolutely.
I want a government that is looking beyond 5 years, because even if after that 5 years you would have lost that election, plans must be in place because the country must continue. So being strategic is very important, and you cannot just say things off the fly because you're going to get support from those in the pavilion. Because when you get those support from those in the pavilion, they are the very same ones that's going to come and turn against you when whatever statement you have made, you are getting the backlash. Because I promise you, if Andrew Holness had said that, and let us say people start losing their visas, it's the same people that would come back and cuss the government.
Unfortunate. And I made a point yesterday evening to just do a canvas of those who I saw who were adamant that something needed to be said and Jamaica was being a puppet. They were silent yesterday. Silent.
What I will say, Ricardo, yesterday I was proud to be a Jamaican.
Absolutely. Same.
And the comments coming from a senior diplomat from the United States.
The senior diplomat.
Yes.
One of the most senior cabinet secretaries
the most
in the
senior,
US
exactly. You're
government.
correct. Yes. And in essence, indicating that, look, Jamaica is the leader, within Latin America and the Caribbean. That speaks volume for our little rock that we have.
Yes. And our conduct of responsible government.
Yes. And be it PNP, JLP, whoever you support, no P.
It should be something.
Yesterday is something that must be talked about.
Absolutely.
And as somebody said yesterday, it is a big deal.
It is. And again, because I know they're there, social media diplomats. Somebody messaged me early after the segment and said they're going to beat me. I always call it as I see it, just as I see it. You have to remember, and I give you the latitude. You can dislike the Prime Minister, you can dislike the Foreign Minister, but always remember the black, green, and gold. Because that's what matters. That's what matters. Yeah? And hating on him, tearing him down, to what end? All of us would suffer if Jamaica was put in the crosshairs of America and the US president decided, for whatever reason, to take punitive action against us. It would not have been in our interest.
No, definitely. And we have to understand those things, Ricardo. Yeah? And, sometimes we are so tribal in this country that we cannot separate the politics from certain things.
Yeah.
I've always said, when you talk about crime, talk about health, international relations, we have to separate the politics sometimes from it. It's very hard, but we call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
If the government is doing well as it relates to reducing crime, let's celebrate it. One less life lost, that's something to celebrate. If we're doing well on the international scene, that the most senior diplomat of one of the world's superpower can come to us and say, you are doing well and you're a front leader. We have to celebrate that. But why? Why you can't celebrate it? Because, I'm going to support Andrew Holness, or you don't support the government. So what?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Jamaica wins. And that is what is important.
Yeah. So my plea tonight, put aside the blind and sometimes reckless idealism. Yeah? We have to be pragmatic in the world that we live in. Right? And as I put the question to the minister, the elephant that is China, the elephant that is the United States, we have to see our way through that fighting.
Yes.
And it is not in our interest to be provocative. I will not tell Mia Mottley how to lead Barbados. The Bajan people gave her a mandate and she can interpret that how she wills.
Yes.
So too Ralph Gonsalves in St. Vincent. But as for me and my country, yesterday, as you said, Sanjay, very proud to be Jamaican. Very, very proud of the conduct of Jamaica's foreign affairs. And I hope that it will continue. I said after the budget debate, and then they come for me hard, that the Jamaican people now have a choice, clear choice. And with each day that passes, I think the choice is crystallizing. In this instance, Kamina Johnson-Smith as Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke as Foreign Affairs Minister. You have enough to make a choice. You have enough to make a choice. It's up to you. 7:30, we're going to take your calls.
Apply for your Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard today. Load your remittances for everyday spending. Receive cash transfers from any local bank. The time by Sagicor Bank is...
It's now 7:31. It's a minute later. Book says I should tell you.
Win with love. Use your JMMB Money Transfer Prepaid Visa Card from October 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 for a chance to win your share of a $2.1 million grand prize, plus a $100,000 university cash grant and cash back from paying tolls and shopping with your card. Receive money 24/7 in minutes with Visa Direct via MoneyGram, Zoom, Remitly, or directly through RIA and Zoom. Visit jm.jmmb.com/money-transfer for full details on how to enter and win with love. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply.
Eat other snacks when sunshine has the best for you. Nature's best buns are crunchy. The flavor that sings to you. Salted banana and plantain. Taste the freshness,
Looking for a gym that's got it all? Welcome to Express Fitness, where fitness meets convenience. With 24/7 access, you can work out whenever it suits you. And with island-wide locations, we're always close by anywhere and anytime. Love classes? We've got them. From aerobics to dance to spin, you name it, we've got it. Our certified trainers are here to take you on a journey. Call us at 888-FITNESS or visit our website at expressfitnessja.com. Express Fitness, your goal or mission.
Calling all tradesmen, small contractors, skilled workmen, and small entrepreneurs. Whether you want to start or expand your business or get equipment for your projects, Total Tools will help you tool up and expand your business. Get up to $500,000 to borrow, up to 2 years to repay, and interest rates as low as 3.99%. Come for your loan to get your tools. Offer ends June 2025. Visit Total Tools in Kingston, Ocho Rios, and Drex Hall to get a loan for every tool and every trade.
The Jamaica Midlife Health Society invites you to a free webinar discussing maximizing your brain health before, during, and beyond midlife. Their distinguished panel includes guest speaker Professor Errol Morrison and industry experts Professor Denise Eldemaya Shera, Dr. Kai Morgan Campbell, and Dr. Brian Kazera. The event starts at 2 p.m. on Sunday, March 30, 2025. Register for the Zoom link through their Instagram page at Jamaica Midlife or email marketing for jmhs@gmail.com for more information. Sponsored by Nationwide 90 FM.
It's time for your calls. I'm Ricardo Brooks. He's Sanjay Lewis. The numbers are 630-9371-4, 618-8255. Bobby, hello.
Hello,
Good
Bobby.
Evening. Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I was listening to the both of you a short while ago. I had the same conversation with a friend of mine today. And trust me, I am wondering if I had called you guys first before I had that conversation with him. and I know tomorrow he's going to say to me, you know, I feel that you and Sandra and Ricardo have a private conversation before the both of us discuss this matter.
Bobby don't have my number. Let me just make that clear.
Exactly.
Bobby
Thank
don't
you.
have my number.
Thank you.
Make that clear.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And trust me, if I should grade this conversation a short while ago, grade it, call it, say, 10 will be the highest, I would grade it 10 out of 10. This is a very good conversation. And I can tell you that not only yesterday, but I am a proud Jamaican and even more proud coming out of the conversation yesterday. I feel so good. Yes, but what I really want to talk about is the budget presentation. You know, when I sat and I listened to my two good friends, Mark Golden and Julian Robinson, this coming like they set up a supermarket, you see, where they are going to sell goods and services and so on. But they are not telling you the price of the goods that they have inside the supermarket.
Or when the goods will be made available in the supermarket.
Thank you, Sanjay.
But you know, Mr. Golding gave you some costings yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yesterday. Yes, yesterday morning. He gave you some costing.
So, you see, and I really want to say to him, when the minister is giving him some sharp uppercut, he stand up in Parliament and said something that turned the opposition into a laughing stock. I know every year when the opposition give their budget presentation, no matter which opposition it is, I know they're supposed to give an alternative to the government budget for the people to analyze.
Well, but what if, as Mark Golden did, remember this year, and Ricardo and I spoke about it, the budget presentation is a huge platform. Many individuals are looking on. Isn't it a smart idea to utilize that platform to tell the Jamaican people what a PNP government will do should they form the government? Can't pay for that airtime, you know.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes, man. Right, you see, and one final thing, I would like
No, but hold on, you didn't answer my question. So what was wrong with the approach that he decided to take?
No. We, as what I said earlier on, it should be an alternative. And what he's saying to us, it is a proposal if in case they should form the next government. And that proposal is not for this fiscal year. Come on, Sanjay.
Well, I will say, and I said it yesterday. I had absolutely no issue with the way that Mark Golding decided to present. My only problem is he should have stated from the get-go that these initiatives that he's suggesting or putting forward is over a 5-year period, right? Because you're utilizing a platform, as I indicated, that you can't pay for one. And secondly, it's an election year. It's a strategy that the PNP decided to embark on. I can't fault them for it at all.
No, but Sanjay, that is the wrong road him take. Because even some of his members turn a blind eye and look on him. Apparently they are saying to themselves, what is he saying?
All right, Bobby.
The government benches a laugh of time.
All right, Bobby.
All right.
Yeah, that good run.
Ricardo, what do you think about it though? Because and I see the YouTubers, they're of course not agreeing.
No, I made a point. I made a point the evening he finished, and them slaughtered me on social media. But cycle. I made a point. I said I thought I saw what he was doing. I said at the time that it was a gamble, and it would be for the Jamaican people to decide if they accepted how he went about it by using the platform, as you rightly said, that a lot of eyes were on him. Essentially as a political platform. That's how I saw it. It was clear to me that was his intention. Dr. Christine Clark from the University of the West Indies was here with us, and she said she thought it was a campaign manifesto type speech. I absolutely agreed with that. What has happened now is that he has lost the gamble. He made a gamble and he lost. That much is clear to me. Former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, he said something. He said, if you're constantly having to explain, then you're losing.
You've lost.
Yeah.
That was when I said to myself, he has lost the gamble.
Right.
Indeed. When I saw that they quickly called a press conference to explain.
So you left a void and you allowed the minister to fill that void, and then you had to play catch up. So clearly it turned out to be bad form and bad posture. But I agree with you that I could see what he was trying to do in using it that way. It seems, based on the conversations I've heard and most of the things I've read, that most people did not accept that was an appropriate use of the budget debate. Cleveland, good evening.
Good evening. It's when we back up Mr. Golding for anything. Him try to, come up with something else. But he don't have no real plan for this country. No real plan. And so they know that we're just jumpy and based on what they think that, we'll vote for just about anything. That's why they try and come with anything. But anyhow, that's not what I was wanted to. Did Mr. Golding say anything about the Cuban relationship and what Mr. Trump said and so on?
Mr. Golding
Did
as
they
in
give
Mark Golding?
an argument any at all?
Not that I've seen. You mean since the secretary came yesterday?
No, man. Before, when Mr. Trump put out that those countries that have in relationship with Cuba and so on, did they say anything?
Yes, I vaguely remember them defending the program. I may be wrong, but I think they defended it. Yes. Or called on the government. Yes, they called on the government to state its position or something to that effect. Yes.
Yes, but that was just a political call, Because I tell you, I walk with 3 other men in the morning. Well, 4 hours. So. And man, I have a hard time with them. Every morning they come, Mr. Holness, don't have any balls that we can use.
We use it already.
I know the Caribbean people, them have balls. And they stand up to Trump. And our government won't stand up to him. And all I trying to tell them, me little dunce one among them, trying to tell them, say, look, Mr. Holness is angling this situation different from them. My Prime Minister is not a dunce, and him understand the whole thing. Because anyhow, let's look out against Merkel that way. You're sure if America start drop visa, stop give visa, they're going to turn around and blame Mr. Holness?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All hell would break loose. Cleveland, it would have been a disaster. All hell would break loose. Even a small tariff, 10% tariff.
Yeah.
But Ricardo, and Cleveland, do you remember with the whole Dodo saga and when individuals were losing their visa and how Bruce Golding got a major hit for it?
God, not a soul you know stuck up with Golding at all that time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Not even the Labour right, them too.
No, it's true. It's true.
Right?
And to be fair, Mr. Golding stood on principle. What the argument that he put forward was on principle.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it just show you how our people are, three-quarter of our people are unpatriotic, you know. Trust me, three-quarter.
And you know, Cleveland, in some ways, I understand. Let me explain what I mean. I think part of the problem is that over the years, our people have become so used to being let down by their leaders. You know, and so it's led to a kind of cynicism that our leaders must always be lying, or they must always be up to something, or they must always be selling out. And I think it's because for so long, for so many decades, we've almost become accustomed to failure, poor leadership.
Yes.
And so I think it's hard for people, and in a way, as I say, I understand, it's hard for people to see that this lot, though imperfect, they're trying to get it right. They're trying to get it right.
They're trying.
And, you know, I suppose people are just not willing to give the benefit of the doubt. And I am not saying that people shouldn't be strident in raising questions, right?
Yes.
And raising questions in good faith. That's important. You're supposed to hold your government accountable. What I don't like is when those questions, it's almost pouring water on Jamaica. It's talking down Jamaica. It's beating down the name of Jamaica.
Like we're done here.
Just because you don't like the leadership of the country.
That's right.
I cannot.
That
I will never support that.
No.
I'll never support that.
Should never do.
And it makes me almost irrationally angry. I'm telling you. I've not forgotten how people treated, I keep saying it, the bid for Commonwealth Secretary General. I was most upset at that, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, for me, it was not about Kamina Johnson-Smith.
No.
It was not about her. It was about my country and the right of my country to stand up and be counted as one of the best and worthy of leading an organization like that.
One of the best.
So I can't support it.
Sit here, if there's a change, and have that other lady as the foreign affairs person.
That's for
my God.
That's for the Jamaican people to decide.
Oh,
but as I say,
come on.
for me, just don't talk down Jamaica. I don't like it. I don't like it.
You know. But I think Mr. Holness did well yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And him and the gentleman talk as if they know each other for a long time.
They do, you know. And recall when he was a senator from Florida, the Prime Minister did make several visits to Washington. And on several of those visits, he did meet with him.
Yes.
So they do have a relationship.
Yes,
they
and
do.
him was no big bad bull.
Yes.
Some people telling me, Mr. There's something out and describe Mr. Holness, what would be happening to Mr. Holness now. You're surprised to know. And I pour me one, I said, no, sir, no go, sir. Mr. Holness not that weak. Right?
All right, Cleveland.
I'm working way out.
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
Thanks for the
All
call.
right. All the best.
O'Brien?
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Where's Ricardo? I'd like to listen to him.
I'm right here.
Good. Let me ask you guys a question. What the country, let's say the Caribbean, what they wanted Mr. Holness to do? Come out and talk like him have no sense. Mr. Holness is a smart man, you know. Let me give you a little instance.
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Very smart.
Yes.
And I remember one time I was in Parliament with Mr. Siaga. I'm not going to call his name. And I saw the MP get up and Mr. Siaga was debating about housing trusts and we should build houses and that people can live properly. And a certain MP got up and make a remark.
Mm-hmm.
So artist and pull down his glasses and look at him.
Oh, silence cannot be misquoted.
In saying what your problem is, you need to engage your brain before you speak.
Yes.
And what happened to a lot of us? We don't engage our brains properly before we speak.
Yes.
So with this Cuban situation, right? Everybody jump up. But Mr. Holness never say. Mr. Holness have a cabinet, you know. And Mr. Holness one on the country, you know. He have a cabinet, him sit down and him discuss it.
Yes.
And him holding thing and wait until Mr. Rubio arrive in Jamaica and him present himself properly. 100%. Why do you want the Prime Minister? Get up and go like you're a madman.
And you know, chances are also they would have had some advance knowledge that there were plans for the Secretary to visit Jamaica.
That's
so
correct.
that they might have also had that knowledge that we wouldn't have had. Yes.
Right. So get up and him say, oh, yes, go here. And I can understand Miyamoto, I can understand Gonzalez, I can understand everybody. But we have to think about Jamaica too.
Yes.
And when Mr. Wood get up and make the mistake now, you said tomorrow morning, visa can. Like you said with Mr. Golden when the whole thing. And Mr. Golden wasn't wrong. Mr. Golden never said anything wrong, you know, but in jump no interest and leave him out there to swim. Mr. Olis did a great job and everything is fine. And listen to what Marco Rubio said now. In the other countries are doing this, take with passport, take with this. I'm not saying it is happening in Jamaica. So what he's basically saying, we don't have a problem. So we just live and big up Mr. Olis for everything we do upon this video.
You know, as you speak, caller, something came to my mind, and I'm thinking, I don't want a prime minister that is there to play to the populace. Yeah?
Right.
I want a prime minister who will do the right thing. And if you do the right thing, the people of the country may not necessarily always like you,
right,
but they will respect you.
Yes.
And I find sometimes that in this world, we have too many persons running for office, and those who are in office who are pandering and playing to those in the pavilion. So they celebrate you.
I associate
but
myself
to what end?
completely with those comments. Sanjay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, and it worked out good. And the minister came out and I heard him this morning and him speak on it, and we're doing fine. So what he's saying, go and do what you're doing and let us maintain our health system properly. We're all right. And again, I commend the Prime Minister. And if I give him a score, I give him 10. Not 99.9.
All right. All right, O'Brien. That's what I call.
All the best.
You know, before we go to the next call, and it should be said as well, Sanjay, that there are some ideological issues at play here.
Yes.
Mia Motley, Ralph Gonzalez, they come from another ideological school of thought from Holness. Clearly, that much is clear. And their method, mold of leadership may have been closer aligned to that of the former, Michael Manley one, yes, and the former U.S. administration, the Democratic administration of Joe Biden. Holness, perhaps more aligned with the conservative thinking of the Republican Party and the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom. So that is also at play here as well. But yeah, don't talk down Jamaica. Richie? Richie?
Yes, man.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
I listened to you guys' commentary a while ago, and you could have said it better. If Jamaica, if the government fail, the country fail, and we the people fail. If the government succeed, we the people will go and succeed. But some people just not that. I mean, we can understand how just people put some people put on a collar and just stand by it, and it's like trying to do everything to build the government. It is wrong. But anyway, my point. Remember the night before Mark Warren presentation, I said we are calling upon him to tell us if he's still a dual citizen. And tomorrow you get the chance to do it. I didn't hear him do it. You want to hear him do it?
Heard him do what?
If he renounced his dual citizen, did he mention it?
Mention it where?
In the parliament when he presented his budget speech.
No, he didn't mention it in the parliament. I think he went on some online show, and I think I saw the Gleaner run an article, so I'm assuming the Gleaner also saw the documents.
The Gleaner, but I like how me no read Gleaner. What should I believe? Are we who don't read Gleaner?
Well, I don't know. Huh? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. He said he pronounced it. I saw him holding up a document on an online platform, and as I said, I saw a story in the Gleaner.
Well, I still believe that is a dual citizen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anyway, I keep repeating myself. I put up Michael Manley for years before I had a vote. Until I could vote 1960. I mean, when 89, that I could vote for Michael Manley at the time. I never even vote. I went to the police station, and I was 15 minutes later, and a man tell me, say, you know, for yourself because somebody voted him already. So I never vote, but I had to vote for Michael at the time. But you see, I keep learning. And when this government take office, when I learned that they have to be paying 70 cents out of every dollar for debt, it was frightening to me. And I said, they start bringing it down. When I learned that the government get this country with 380 gangs, that Jamaica was known as the murder capital of the world, it was shocking to me. And you say, what about the things that Andrew talk about, I mean, in terms of investment, growing the economy? That is my take. Once he bring down the gangs and bring down crime, the government will be growing the economy very, very fast in the next 2 years. So, you know, once the crime given, and it will keep coming down. Because you say, what is hampering the government for years? Crime. Jamaica now would enough crime. Because you know much returning residents come here and go back in a PJ days. They will come back this time, you know. Investors will come back this time. Tourism will be moving. Booming. So that is my biggest investment I see coming from this government. I mean, a lot is out there to talk about, you know. Because they may talk about third, fourth, and fifth term. So, you know, so there's a lot of work for them to do over the years. But in my short term, crime, if that come down, which is keep coming down, the economy will be going very, very fast in the next year and two.
All right, Richard.
That's my take.
Thank you.
All right.
On YouTube, I see Mr. Hill asking why you guys allow them to come and disrespect Mark all the time. I don't know who is the you, because I know certainly myself and Sanjay. We do not entertain disrespect. Exactly. Richie said he did not believe Mr. Golding, and I did not think at all that is disrespectful. He said he didn't believe him. I can't tell him what to believe. I told him the facts as I have them.
And to be fair to us, Ricardo, if someone comes and says something that we believe is erroneous or disrespectful, I know we will call out that person.
Always. He said he didn't believe. I told him the information as I had it. I have not seen the documents. I told him the information as he said he didn't believe. Okay.
Can't find someone for their opinion.
Right. He said he didn't believe.
It's his opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Oh boy. The nature of our politics, eh?
That's about all the time we have. Marcia, I always think it's forevermore, but it's actually favor more than a conqueror. Hello, Marcia. Yeah. Dre Views, Angela Ellis, Jamaican for Life, Nitrogen, Marva Thomas, Drew. Who else over there? Iron Lady.
Hold on, Tam says she's calling out Sanjay. Why are you calling me out for Tam?
What did Sanjay do, Tam?
She says, Ricardo, I'm calling out Sanjay. Was she the one who made the statement?
No, it was Mr. Hill, and Mr. Hill is saying, okay, I apologize. Thank you for the apology, Mr. Hill. I don't tolerate disrespect, and I don't allow it, so thank you.
That's very thoughtful that you apologize. Yeah.
Mikhail is saying good night. Frank White is laughing at some joke. Becca Grant say Ricardo and Sanjay, but Becca not telling me what's up. Neville 12 Rob is there. Corrine is there. Sundays is there. Dwight. Thousands.
Marigold. Don't forget Marigold. Marigold Webber, the teacher.
Marigold knows.
The leader of the pack.
Me I think different. Me Marigold think different. Marigold knows that. Me and I think different. Tammy's a male, Erica Bennett is telling me. Okay. Janet Green says Ricardo forward early with George. No, Janet, that ship has sailed. They will not send me back to morning. This is my new home. Brick Road is saying that
the house not so new anymore.
Tam is not a female. Tam is absolutely a male. Jacqueline Thomas is laughing. You know what would be good? If you always put your actual names. Then that way we would be sure. we would be sure. Barbara Ellington says, love you guys. Love you too, Auntie Barbara. Auntie Barbara, we have work to do now. We need to talk. Lloyd Campbell, PNP people, them don't want Jamaica to prosper. I don't know if that is true, Lloyd. I don't know if it's true. Joseph Powell is telling Marigold good night. Yeah, they're having a ball over there. But that's all the time we have. If you're not a member of the community, you should join the community. Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. That's a channel. Yeah, go on, subscribe, and join the conversation. Corinne said they deported you. I don't think it's a deportation, I don't think it's a deportation. No.
It's a promotion.
No, it's dual citizenship. It's dual citizenship. I've joined my friend Bogues and Dana and, Sanjay and Cliff over here. Yeah, my passport heavy now. I can say that I've lived in several countries. Yeah. You know where I want, if they're going to deport me, where I want them to deport me? To Cliff Hughes Online. I'd love to host that show. Mr. Oldman, if you're listening, give me a bus now. Dana Davey, thank you so much. Andrew Glenn Anderson, thank you, my brother. My colleagues in the newsroom, the very best in the business, led by our editor, Cara Powell. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
My name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Good evening.
Area Council 1 meets in St. Andrew Eastern this Sunday, Mountain View Primary School, 5 p.m. Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie leads the charge with MP Fable Williams. Labor rights